Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday evening edition of The Outer Realm with myself, Michelle Desrochers, minus Amelia Pisano again. Let's send her over some love. She's still on the road to mending. We are broadcasting live here tonight on the UFO Paranormal Network. Not on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. So, little reminder for everybody to pop over to YouTube, get in the chat room, subscribe, and one of us should be in there. Also, please pop over to the group page, Outer Realm, Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and give us some love that way too. Anyway, I would like to give a big shout out tonight to the amazing folks over at Folgers Coffee who do partially sponsor tonight's segment. Thank you, Folgers. Okay, with all that being said and done, we can actually get the ball rolling now for the most important stuff. So before I begin anything else, I want to say Happy Hanukkah to all of our listeners who do celebrate it. I know it's the beginning of your holiday, and I wish you all the best on that. Be safe and enjoy. So, what can I say about tonight's guest? Wow. I think I have a feeling I'm going to be a little bit fangirling tonight because I am a really big fan of Freddy's. Freddy Silva is, I don't know, I always say that the guy's just a genius with research and writing. I was first introduced to Freddy Silva's research actually when I was looking into Templar history, researching some of my own lineage, which was pretty vast. And I stopped by my Gaia account, since I do have a membership, and found his documentary called The 900-Year Secret of the Knights Templar. And I'm thinking, this has got to be good. I've never seen this one before. I was instantly mesmerized, and needless to say, from that moment on, I was hooked. Because I think the first thing I actually thought to myself was, my gosh, somebody who finally gets it. And then I came to find out that he did 19 years of research. I'm like, my gosh, 19 years. You have to get it right. There's just no way. Anyway, definitely one of the most interesting documentaries I've ever seen. And from that moment on, I think I just watched literally everything that was on there, ordered books and more DVDs. And it's just been my love affair with Freddy's research, I guess is the best way to put it. So anyway, I have become a huge Freddy Silva enthusiast, and I delve as much as I can into his work, and I promote him whenever possible. Anybody says something, I'm just right on it. You've got to check this guy out. He's wonderful, and I don't ever fangirl. I just don't do that. But I have to say tonight I'm going to be a little bit, giddy about it because he really is just wonderful. So, without further ado, let's get into Freddy Silva. Freddy Silva is a best-selling author and a leading researcher of ancient civilizations, restricted history, sacred sites, and their interaction with consciousness. He has published 6 books in 6 languages, described by one CEO as perhaps the best metaphysical speaker in the world right now, to which I agree. For 2 decades, he has been an international keynote speaker and appears currently on Gaia TV, the History Channel, the BBC, and radio shows, see, it's already starting, such as Coast to Coast. He is also a documentary filmmaker and leads private sellout tours to sacred sites worldwide, which is something I definitely want to do. Thank you, COVID, for putting a wrench into that. So it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Mr. Freddy Silva to the Outer Realm this evening. And
hello, Michelle.
Oh, hello.
I heard all that. You groupie, you.
I am a terrible groupie.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I know, it's terrible. No, I admit it. You're a genius. You are.
Nice hair.
Thank you.
I used to have that color when I was at college. We used to henna our hair. Of course, back then we had hair. It was a rock and roll kind of thing. It was a very cheap way to wear, make yourself look good with wrapping a plastic bag on your head and putting all that henna for like a whole day. It's stupid for a whole day with a same bag. But my God, it came out with all these wonderful shades. But we were at school back then, what can you do?
Hey, apparently it's a hard color to keep, I'm told. It's just very difficult to keep and difficult to wear. I was like, well, I don't know.
Rain in England.
Yeah, it would be terrible.
By the time you get to college, your white t-shirt was kind of pink,
I've had those experiences. Not very kind.
But that was then. We don't talk about hair anymore.
Oh.
Hair today, gone tomorrow. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Well, hopefully not for a while. I've got a nice mane on me. I plan on keeping it for a while. Um, I'm just honored that you're here. I really
Well,
am.
I'm here too.
Thank you. Thank you. I've just delved into so many of your books and your films, and I have to say I'm just left in awe. You know, I'm a research fanatic,
Oh, thank you.
and yeah, you just get to the point. You don't diddle daddle around. You get to the point. You don't make us try to figure it out. We get reading, and it's like, see, that's what I'm talking about right there. The man just knows what he's talking about, gets right to it, and just takes us along for the ride. It's wonderful.
Well, there's so many people writing so many books about this stuff. And when I was starting off a couple of decades ago, or 3 decades, I can't remember, there'd be quite a lot of stuff that was just, you'd read 300 pages and you'd have like a paragraph of notes and you think, what was that all about? What a waste of time. And I guess it's stuck. I figured, people complain about me throwing the kitchen sink at them, especially at conferences where I just came back from Arizona. We had a lovely weekend, 50 people, social distancing in the room. But, it's better than doing nothing. At least, everybody's fine. We just take some basic precautions.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the 3 days, you can see that, there's a sort of deer in the headlight look. And you think, was that too much? I said, yeah, but it was good. I said, oh, good.
It's like, it's never too much.
Funny, I suppose.
It's never too much. Honestly, anything that I have seen or read of yours, I'm just sitting here going, I'm just flipping around, but that's it. That's it. There's no more. Please tell me there's more.
And the idea is to sort of get you to sort of figure out the truth. One of the things that I do is I never tell the truth. I tell facts. I let the reader figure it out for themselves. I want you. Otherwise, you're just figuring out my truth. My truth is no good to you whatsoever. I could be on a different path altogether. I could be the devil for all you know. So it's best that you have the facts and then you kind of work it out. How does this work? Does this make sense? And then you check out the bibliography, and which is usually about that thick. The books would be a lot cheaper if it wasn't for that. Those 10 pages of books that I had to research. But it does show that at least if a book has that much behind it, it shows that the author at least made the effort. They may or may not be right, but the thing is they've made the effort, and that's what I usually look for in a good book is the bibliography, which of course is very expensive because once you're in there, it's like, oh, where did he get that from? I think I'll get hold of that one before you know it, as you know, down the rabbit hole.
Yes. Well, your research, your opinion to me has just been phenomenal. Like I said, I started out with the Templar research that you've done, and I'm thinking to myself, 19 years, it's just amazing.
I know. I think that's where my hair went. I have to admit, I don't think my brain has been the same since I wrote that book. It really stretched me. It's for me, it's my proudest moment. I'm proud of everything I've done, and you can see the growth over the years. But that Templar book really, it took it out of me because it was a complex story that had to be told simplistically. So I wrote it like a play. So you have to keep track of what's going on. And that was the other thing. I wanted an antidote to this, culture of, oh my God, I'm going to find out the truth in 120 letters or less. Well, that doesn't work. You don't get any truth from texting or your cell phone. You've got to engage. And that book forces you to be engaged. I even cheated. I used words which you have to go and look up in the Oxford English Dictionary of 1820. They don't exist anymore, because language is so beautiful. It's like saying to the Eskimos, can I have some snow? And they look at you and you think, well, which 36 varieties of snow do you want? And I think language has become so cheap, and I kind of got, pissed off at that. So I kind of made it really an experience that you can really live and go through. And you kind of lose weight at the end of it. You're sweating. You're getting into the skin of the Templars. And I think it works quite well. It gives you a bit of a headache, but it makes you work as a reader, and that's good.
It did. And for me, in my lineage, you connected a lot of dots.
Oh, good.
I started looking at it, went, oh my God, this is all here. Shit, I don't even have to go looking for it now. It's right here. Thank you, Freddy Silva. You just made my search so much easier. So thank you. But I have to say, you know, your current book, The Missing Lands, talking about the missing gods, talking about civilization 12,000 years ago. What prompted you to go down that journey? Because that's a hard one to, you know, to delve into, because how do you prove it?
Yeah, not many people were writing stuff about that back then, were they? Yeah, well, nothing much happens here in Maine. It's very quiet, so I figured I'd give myself a challenge. And I mean, I am curious. I mean, each book, I don't know where the stuff goes. I just kind of follow a trail of breadcrumbs. There's no plan, but the clue is usually in the previous book of what I'm going to be doing next. I should have figured this out by now. And I was really curious about the origin of things. You know, how did we end up with these monuments? How did we end up with pyramids and Sacsayhuaman and the places in Central America and these really ancient, massive stones that we find in Lebanon, which no crane on earth can lift, by the way. And if those weren't big enough, they found bigger ones beneath the ones in the quarry at Baalbek. And I wanted to figure out, what were these people? Were they just showing off? I mean, because they could do it. It was easy for them to move a piece of rock bigger than this building with complete ease. And I think, well, what were they up to? What was their? Let me get under their skin a little bit. And I got interested in these stories that they were telling around the Pacific because these people memorize everything. The wisdom keeper tells one person, and they'll spend 10 years memorizing what this 80-year-old guy is talking about. And then we talk about the whole thing to their tribe, and then it keeps going and going. So it's very well maintained, these traditions. And I figured that the Pacific Rim and the Polynesian Islands possibly have the oldest stories on Earth. And these were there. They were eyewitness accounts. So I began to sort of get more curious about who were the gods. And it turns out that the gods were basically people like you and me who had complete control over the laws of nature. That's what a god is. You are connected to the source of things. We have another word for it, which is sorcerer. You connect with the source. It's pretty obvious when you think about it.
Yes.
It turns out that these people were, the quote that I heard a lot of times was, human-like but not quite human. So they were, 8 feet tall, 10 feet tall, elongated skulls, red hair with green eyes or blonde with blue eyes, and very light skin. So, and back then Europe didn't exist, so these were not Europeans. These were of Caucasian origin, and maybe the origin of Caucasians. But they certainly were very different, and especially with long beards. You don't get men with long beards in many places in the Pacific or even South America.
That's true.
Certain parts of Japan. So that's where all that comes from. So I figured, well, let me keep following the trail, and one story leads to another. I'd go to New Zealand and find out a tribe that no one's ever heard of called the Waikaha, who I'm totally fascinated with. And, a couple of their remaining people have kind of taken me under their arm a little bit, because I've given them a bit of a world audience to talk about their culture. They're saying, oh, thank you. Finally, someone remembers who we are. I'm not the first person, but I'm certainly someone with a bit of exposure. So people are beginning to realize that there's much more going on than the Maori. So it was threading these connections and finding out where they go, and looking at the origin of the words and finding out how their story connects with South America. All you have to do is look at the origin of what these people are talking about and the words and what they mean, because they don't mean anything to us in our language. And then you realize that the gods of South America are the same ones that they're talking about in Egypt. And they're the same ones that we're talking about in Mesopotamia. And you go, my God, these were all one enormous brother and sisterhood. They were a global group of people. And they were very helpful. They kept themselves to themselves. So that's how Missing Lands came about. It was just this poking around in dark corners. And as usual, this stuff just finds me. I think when your heart's in the right place, it finds you. I'm very lucky in that respect. So I think someone's looking after me.
Oh, very well, because everything's finding you. It's like, oh my God. It's like, what doesn't this man know?
One of my fans sent me usually I don't give my home address out for obvious reasons, although back then I was being sent underwear in envelopes. I'm not kidding you. I was being sent underwear. And but someone said to me, I want to send you a gift, some books. I thought, all right, I'll give you my address. And she sent me these 2 enormous, I forget her name, she's from Alabama. She sent me these 2 enormous books about this tribe in New Zealand. And they're bloody expensive, these books, and they're right here on my shelf. And it's funny because I was literally about to write about them. So that's how funny these things tend to happen.
Oh, I'm just bringing up the chat room. I'm not trying to be rude. Okay. Oh, hello, Zach. He's in the chat. Probably trying to think. I know. Why isn't anybody responding to me? Because I am awestruck.
Oh
Basically.
my God.
No, yeah, seriously, I've completely like ignored everything I was supposed to do, like get the chat room and make sure the links go where they're supposed to. It's like, oh right, I gotta do a job. I gotta do a job. Um, so these giants, I guess, these gods. Do you think these are the people who the scholars, or so much of a scholar as you can be? I probably think you're more credible than some of these scholars. But is this who we would consider the giants, or some people will call them the Nephilim if you lean that way? I'm more
Yeah.
academically. Would that be the same people?
No, it's very complicated, actually. It turns out that the gods were just different types of humanoids. And they
Right.
talked about one of them being the Watchers, that they call, even in Australia, the Aborigines said, those are the Ngurumbungias. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, yeah, that means the Watchers. They're the ones that watch over us. They're very protective people. They could take on human form whenever they wanted to. And I thought, wow, I've heard that story in Egypt and Mesopotamia. And we have the stories of the Watchers in the Bible being bad people and all of that. It's absolute nonsense. I mean, that was when the Jews were in Babylon. They stole the stories from the Babylonians, and then they reworked it for their political and, of course, religious advantage. But the Babylonians had done the same thing to the Sumerian text before them, so nothing new there. So you have to keep going back and back and realizing that what we're talking about are just very tall people. They were all connected to the lords of Anu, who are the people of Anu, or Anunnaki. And it was a small group of them that behaved very badly. Okay, everybody focuses on that small group.
It's always got to be
one. Without the lords of Anu, today humans wouldn't be around. We'd all be dead. We'd all been destroyed in a big flood. So they helped us, and we're having this conversation now thanks to them. And they never get any thanks. So I tracked the story down to its original text, and I found that the Watchers, there's a small group of Watchers who were like craftspeople, and they defied orders to mingle with humans. They had children with human women, and they died in childbirth because they gave birth to, infants.
Right.
The Wichita of Oklahoma had the same story about, the tall people, the gods came here, they married our women, and the women died in childbirth. It was impossible. And it was them, there was the children, the offspring of those children that were the problem. Now, they were very, very tall. They were almost giantesque. Those are the Nephilim, the children of Orion, they're called. And those were the real problem. They were meat eaters. They ate people for fun. They caused war. They taught humans how to fight and kill each other just for sport. And that's what basically contributed to the wiping out of the earth with an enormous flood, which I go into in excruciating detail from about 130 different accounts and points of view. And from there, we have this other sort of race that really never managed to get their DNA with humans, and they're still living. Let's see, in the Solomon Islands, they're 14 feet tall, and that's giant, and they're covered in red hair. They don't really have a name for them, and the islanders are saying, well, the remains of a once proud race. They kind of they went a bit iffy, and they kind of they couldn't intermarry, so they've been slowly dying off for these thousands of years. And we leave them alone. They live up in the mountains. They get from A to B through the cave systems, which are self-illuminating, apparently. There's some kind of fungus that grows there that can actually light your way in the dark. And the US Army, on occasion, used to come into contact with them. That's why they slept with a revolver under their pillow, not because they were afraid of being attacked by Japanese marauding soldiers, but because they were afraid of the 14-foot giants that were going around. And they said, and the villagers said, well, they leave us alone, and sometimes they help us. They're okay. They just want to be left alone, and we respect that. And once in a while, they'll do us a favor. So sometimes they'll wash up on the coast of New Zealand in the 50s and the 60s. Again, very big, covered in red hair. And those were the real troublemakers.
But you don't hear of that.
As well.
Yeah, you don't hear of that. Like you just, I mean, I like to think I'm fairly versed, and I've never heard of a giant or an individual of that girth just showing up or washing up on a beach somewhere. I mean, what do you do? What does the average person do? It's not something we're taught, in school. This is not something this is not something you're taught. Like, are you essentially rewriting history a little bit?
Oh, it needs to be rewritten, and I'm not the first person to do this. And Graham Hancock, my colleague, is doing the same thing, and they hate it, which is good because all the attention goes that way, and we can get on with that with our work. So he's doing us a big favor, Graham. And no, I mean, when you look at the facts that we've been taught, they held ground for a certain time, but the problem is the Earth is now giving up its mysteries. We have more independent researchers who are not hamstrung by what you're supposed to be reading at college and what you have to read and write about in order to get your grades. So pretty much boxed in terms of what they can say and what they can't. So they're always lashing out at us because, well, they're just jealous because we don't have to have that limitation. We can say, hey, A connects with Z, that connects with M, because I talk to the geologists and the archaeologists and the historians and the traditional people, and I see the big picture and I see the dots connecting. You can't do that because you're not allowed to. Otherwise, you can't publish. You'll be kicked out of college and university. So I kind of feel sorry for them in that way. But I couldn't sleep with myself at night knowing that I'm lying to people, knowing that there's evidence of a completely different parallel civilization and that the human story is much older and much more interesting than we've been led to believe. And they're not allowed to talk about it. In fact, all they do is debunk it, which is kind of stupid because now the evidence is catching up with them.
Yeah, you're not wrong on that. We have a statement in chat for you. I wonder what the current population is of these giants and how they're able to survive as long without contact from the outside world.
They don't contact the outside world. They live in very remote areas. And the last places on Earth that the final ones to get hold of, like Sarawak, Borneo, New Guinea, Solomon Islands, all these places are very mountainous. They're densely filled with jungle, and they're impenetrable unless you're going there napalming the whole thing and clearing it for agriculture. And slowly we are beginning to make contact with them, but you also got to realize that they've been around for 10,000 years. And if it's a diminishing rate of return when you can only interbreed within yourself. That means you're running out of space. And the same story is in Appalachia. When the Cree were here after the flood in Georgia, they moved into the Appalachia, as did, I believe, the Cherokee. And they said that we encountered a race of very tall people, very human-like, but unusual, and with red hair, sometimes with blonde hair, and they escaped a sinking island in the middle of the Atlantic. And I thought, oh, that sounds familiar. And they basically tried mating with human women, didn't work out so well, so they just lost hope. And they have such a beautiful history that we incorporated theirs into ours so that their memory and all the experiences would never be forgotten. And I thought, what a great story. And the Cherokee called them the Anawani, which is where we get the name Allegheny from, the river that goes through. Yes, wow. Named the river after this not fable, but real group of giants.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's amazing. That's just a little bit of just everyday history that, again, you don't hear about it, but oral history, that's where I think a lot of people go wrong. They just don't take the time to go and research that stuff. Our indigenous people are just a wealth of information, and it's just not written anywhere.
To Clifford Mahuti of the Zuni, he's got a great sense of humor, and he helped me make some connections down in Utah. There's a place called the Horseshoe Canyon with a beautiful panel of petroglyphs. There's 7 people dressed in these gowns. They don't look like desert dwellers, do they? And there's one 8th guy with the big eyes. I think I've seen these people before in other parts of the world. It's always the 7 sages plus the one charismatic leader, always with the big eyes. And that story's all around the world. And he said, yeah, we call them the Lookers. And I thought, wait a minute, is that the same as the Watchers? I said, yeah.
Watchers, yeah.
So we're back to the same story. So you read the Hopi tradition, and it's all there. They even talk about the geological changes that the Earth went through with the 3 recent ice ages. The Earth rotates on its axis backwards at some point. Well, the Egyptians said the same thing too. We get hit with a meteorite once in a while, and the Earth literally, and they said, the Earth, sometimes the sun rises where it now sets, and it sets where it now rises. And we've experienced that 4 times in our culture. That's over 36,000 years. Wow. And when the Earth actually flipped upside down on its axis, a terrible ice age, and they talk about time of indescribable cold. People had to live in caves underground, protected by these watchers and lookers, and the red ant people, until it was safe enough to go out and cultivate. And they were very thankful that they met up with these gods. They were very helpful.
So the red ant people, that's interesting.
I know. Yeah. Actually, I just today released a DVD on that. So promo, yeah. It's about Orion, it turns out, because it's a metaphor. They always spoke in metaphors. Mm-hmm. These gods were very helpful and very hardworking. They kind of labored to make order out of the mess that they found. Usually they'd appear after big catastrophe and they'd help humans get back on their feet, and then they just bugger off and disappeared into their island homes, which ironically are now under the ocean. And because it was so hardworking, the people compared them to red ants, because they're also very laborious little animals. But there's a second metaphor, because these people, apparently the origin is from Orion. They could go backwards and forwards at will. They lived here on Earth, but they could go to Orion's belt anytime they wanted. So the three-part body of the red ant also formed the three belt stars of Orion. So who knew?
Oh, no kidding. I never would have guessed that.
Just when you think about it, but until you hear the story from indigenous people, you go, of course, it's just taking an observation in nature to make sure you remember the story. It's pretty simple, but my God, you do remember it.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. The fact, you were obviously interviewed or spent time with the Hopi, and because they're usually very protective of their information. You know, like you see, they're very specific. Yeah, no, I don't blame them either. Yeah, they're very.
White guy, quick, shut your mouth. Really, I mean, we give them a terrible service. I love those people. I can spend days, weeks with them. I just listen. You know, it's wonderful. No, they're full of wisdom. It's such a shame that we, practically exterminated them, but that happens all around the world. You know, we're becoming so homogenous. We're losing so much of the color and culture of what makes this life really interesting. And that's why I like to travel to weird places and talk to interesting people, because they know something we don't,
They
and
do.
tell others about it, and they'll go, oh, perhaps we shouldn't beat up on them so much, because they have the memory and ironically and paradoxically, the tools that will help us get through the next catastrophe, which is within 15 or 20 years of our lifetime.
See, that was a bit of a concern. I saw that.
There is a happy ending, though. What? There is a potential happy ending.
Potential, though.
Yes.
Okay, so what kind of ecological disaster are we talking about then?
Oh, aside from election chaos, climate catastrophe, bankruptcy, all that kind of stuff. No, the one thing that became very obvious over the years is that ancient people are obsessed with the sky. The Maya, let's take them for example. Now, if you try to plant corn, all you need is a bunch of sticks to tell you what the sun and the moon are doing throughout the year. Mm-hmm. You don't need to build enormous monuments to tell you how to track 140,000 years of time. You'll be dead by then. You don't need this stuff. It's a bit overkill. And I really wondered about that. Perhaps they were just tracking something deeper, the bigger cycles of life, because they realized that life is cyclical. Things tend to come around, especially with regard to the Earth and its position in the cosmos, because we do. I mean, for example, just right now, we're just coming out of another major potential cataclysmic event. It's called a Tauric meteor shower, and we go through it every year in November and again in June. So for 2 weeks, the Earth crosses this massive field of debris, and that's why we sit outside and go, oh, isn't that beautiful? Look at those lovely things in the sky. Yes, except that the big problem makers in Earth's recorded history are the Tauric meteor shower, because there are those moments when the Earth happens to be at strategic locations in that daily stream, where big chunks happen to be. And when those chunks hit, all chaos happens. And the last one was in 1902 in Siberia. There's one chunk that created this massive detonation, wiped out a huge chunk of Siberia. It's called the Tunguska blast.
Wow.
So they happen quite regularly. And I was coming to this at the second to last chapter in the book, and it was getting a bit dark for it, unusual for me. And it was going there. And I figured, wait a minute, it's kind of ironic that we're just now learning about the gods of the flood, and they had exactly the same problem. Now, that was a different situation. They had to induce the flood in order to fix the Earth from what was going on with the Nephilim and the humans. This time around, I'm talking with NASA scientists that are saying, isn't it ironic how we at NASA are now obsessed with tracking asteroids and meteorites and near-Earth destruction objects, because we're doing the same that they were doing 12,000 years ago. And they have mathematicians and long-range optical equipment looking at the next 10 to 15 years saying there is a high probability there's some big chunks of rock headed this way, and it's a 1 in 10 chance that we actually will get hit.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And there was a crop circle that appeared back in '96 that we were totally obsessed with. And I've been sitting on this information for years, not knowing where it was going. And suddenly, bingo, we were told about this back then because we were shown a picture of the inner solar system and the Earth is missing. And the date that was given by the event is 2036 or 38. And it turns out that's right in the middle of what the next mathematical probability for an Earth strike is right now. And I'm thinking, oh my God. So
I'm with you on the oh my God.
Yeah, we've been given advance warning. But there is a way I found, because again, the book couldn't possibly end on a dark note. I actually found an antidote to this. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, come on.
It's so simple. It's so simple. I'll give you a clue. It's to do with the recent developments in measuring the effect of human consciousness and how we can affect change around us. You know, the very thing that the ancestors were so good at doing that we've forgotten is the one thing I think that will eventually save us from this doom scenario. Because all of these things can be altered. Nothing's ever really written in stone.
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the way a lot of our ancestors ended up, you know, but let's talk like Lemuria and Atlantis.
They accepted it as part of the cyclical thing of life. For them, they knew that once they're born, you know, you're already starting to die. I'm going to make you laugh now.
No, not while I'm trying to choke.
Think about it. You're already dying, aren't you? I mean,
I know. I'm trying to choke you, make me laugh. You're really going to... I'm going to just kill over. Sorry, go ahead.
The whole point is to make the time here worthwhile, do the best you can and learn from the experience. And the trick is that they knew, they're very fatalistic. They said, yes, people are going to die, but people will live too. And the fact that we're having this conversation means that not all is the end. But we're always talking about the end times. I mean, there's been 13 end scenarios since the birth of Christ. And you know what? The only people that made any money out of it was the Catholic Church. So fear sells. The trick is don't get caught up in the fear. Recognize that you're here to do something. And a few of us will go and some of us will stay. The trick is to make sure that the survivors don't have to start from scratch. You give them the experience of your knowledge and they continue on to the next level and they'll pass it on to the next people. And that's how it's always been done. And I think it's very romantic. The trick is to lose fear of death. One thing romantic. Is initiative. Yes, which can be done. And two, recognize that you've done this before and you're part of the cycle and you've agreed to be here at this time. If you can just accept that, you don't have to believe it. If you can accept that, I can guarantee that 80% of all the troubles that are on your shoulders right now will magically vanish. It's a wonderful way to go through life knowing that you are in control. You don't know the answer until you die. That's the paradox. And the joke as well. But you are in control. You agreed to this. So you might as well enjoy it while you're here. You know.
I just don't know what I was thinking when I agreed to all this. Somebody's cruel joke.
Sushi all day. Have a Mini Cooper. Have some fine cognac.
I'm taking one for the team somewhere. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Because I mean, I'm just thinking, some of our ancestors. I mean, it didn't work out so good for Atlantis. So, these.
No, but you think about it, and the bigger scheme of things, their time had run out. They've been around for hundreds of thousands of years, and they had 3 sinkings. Remember, it was like, now we're going to give you a warning. Boom. Okay, part of your land is now gone. You're going to get another one 1,000 years from now. Boom, your land is sinking a bit more. It's time to think about planning for the future. And that's when we get the stories appearing in Egypt of the followers of Horus arriving there around 10,600 BC. Incidentally, at the same time, there's an agricultural revolution along the Nile. So this is an anomaly in time. Where did we suddenly have this agricultural revolution, and who brought it there? Well, someone from the outside. And then foundations of the temples that we see today. Why? Because they were planning ahead. They knew that they were going to have 800 years before the next cataclysm. They're going to lose their land masses. So they figured, let's set up for the survivors. And a lot of them survived. A lot of them didn't, but they also did. They brought the wisdom that they had inherited for 36,000 years. They put it in Egypt, and then they died of age. They give it to somebody else, and life continues. So it's actually a very romantic and very logical way of approaching life and making the best of it.
So what's your theory when people say, oh, this is where Atlantis was, or this is where Atlantis was? Is there anything to you that stands out more, that's more compelling? I tend to look at the eye of the desert, down south of like Morocco, and, like I'm like, that looks like it's everything that Plato said. You fall into it so easily because I think deep down we all want to find these cultures that have just...
It's underwater. It's gone. Its time has vanished. It's like it's like punk. Its time came. Once in a while I might hear some, but I'm not into it anymore. I mean, just other things. It's like that. You won't find it. I mean, the one in Mauritania. It's a geological feature. It's beautiful, and two. Atlantis was an island in an ocean. That's the high up in the mountains. That doesn't go together. If you go to Central America, they'll tell you the story, and it's in the Chilam Balam. And there was a group of gods that nobody's ever heard of in Central America called the Its, and they survived a sinking island in the middle of the Atlantic, and they atoll. That's where the word comes from, and they went from stepping stone to stepping stone, which is essentially the islands, which used to be the tips of the mountains where these places used to be in the Atlantic, and they arrive in the Yucatan in 9,600 BC, which is within 100 years of the flood. But at the same time, in Egypt, they've got exactly the same story and the same date too, and they came from the Indian Ocean. And in the book, I actually list one of the last missing lands, which was actually in the region where the Arabian Peninsula now is. Something sank in the Indian Ocean, and Arabia came up. So that's why there's a big desert there. Used to be underwater. So they lost their land as well. So Atlantis was more of an Atlantic thing, but they also had outposts as well in the Mediterranean, like Sardinia, I think, was one of their outposts. From what I've seen there, and some of the countries that I discovered there a couple of years ago for another documentary, hopefully a book. I just got to get back there and finish the work.
Hopefully.
And parts of North Africa as well. Parts of Portugal were also part of that. There's a citadel there that's now slid into the ocean, literally across the road from where I was born. I used to play there as a child. I used to come up with all kinds of stuff. So it was a much more spread out empire, but the central island was in the middle of the Atlantic. And in fact, when I was landing in the Azores a few years ago, it's kind of funny, a headline in the newspaper just plonked itself down as I arrived in the airport at 5 in the morning, and it said, Silva discovers underwater pyramid. And I was wondering, what the hell was I doing sleeping on the plane? It turns out it was another guy, of course. And then, he found the first of what will be many discoveries in the Azores. And it's a 90-foot tall step pyramid, a line to grid north, as most of them are. And of course, it was debunked immediately. I won't even go into it. It's predictable. So, but he's about 3 degrees off. I had predicted there would be a discovery there, but he's about 3 degrees off. I think he's just hit the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. There's more to be found.
I mean, they're finding stuff everywhere. It's amazing to me, what is starting to surface, especially now that you can see it from the air. It's just all this, all this new technology. I think they just found another Mayan temple. They said in plain sight, and they're looking at it from above. I'm like, you look at the size of it, and like, how did anybody miss this?
Just go to Guatemala. I love Guatemala. Just talk to the local people, and they'll say, there's a pyramid over there. Actually, that looks like a pyramid. Why are people wasting money on lidar and airplanes? We know where they are. We just need the money to go and dig them up. Saying, there's nobody living in this part of the world thousands of years ago. No, there was millions of people living there. That's now covered by jungle. It's just how a stupid mainstream history really is. They don't want to hear the stories of the local people. The locals know more. You just go down to Guatemala and they'll say, I'll take you up there next time you come around. We keep bringing all kinds of things down. There's steps there, the big serpents with things coming out of their mouth. Quetzalcoatl said, we'll take you up there. We're full of this stuff here. We don't wait for the lidar. We just know where it is. It's kind
Well,
of
ask the locals. The
yeah,
locals always know where everything is. You
exactly.
know. Um, Question, Bart Sharp, can we go into a death-like consciousness and find those answers how to change reality? Well, that's a good question.
Yes, my third book, The Lost Art of Resurrection, deals exactly with that topic,
It's a
and it's
very
a
good book, Bart.
well, thank you. It's a short one for a change too. Um, it was to do with the fact of comparing different initiation methods around the world, and again, linking them all together and showing that, yes, there was a part of the initiation cult that goes back to Japan in 8000 BC.
Mm,
Eventually becomes the cult that Jesus was following 8,000 years later. How about that?
wow.
He called it because he calls it, follow me, I am the way. Boom. He's just given away the teaching. It was called Tayi, which means the way.
Right.
So that's where it comes from. And basically, it involved a 3-year period of learning, observation, to make sure that you were, well, responsible enough with the information that you wouldn't go blabbing off to other people. Because the last final rite was very dangerous. They actually did an induced near-death experience. They
Mm-hmm.
gave you a poison, and then you literally left the body. So for 3 days, you're going walkabout in the other world, and you're very focused. You're meeting people, sages, going to places that are really bizarre, and you're coming back with complete understanding of where you've been. You remember everything. That's why it took 3 years of training, because in a dream state, you and I wake up at 4 in the morning and go, I hope I'm going to remember this in the morning. And of course, you don't.
I'm on my phone trying
Right?
to
And
tap
taking
it.
ayahuasca is not going to work either, because
No.
ayahuasca is actually inducing the vision. This is the vision. This is when you actually leave the body and you're dead for 3 days. And then 3 days later, you come back and you go, wow, that was interesting. And you write everything. You totally controlled the experience and you're able to write about it. So Plato it shaped his metaphysical doctrine. Pythagoras did it 5 times. You couldn't get enough of it. He was a real junkie about this stuff. So many of the people that we look at in history who are famous writers or visionaries, even heads of governments, God forbid, they actually went through this experience because it made them better people and they could be of better service to humanity. And of course, it would also alter the way that they went through life. They had a degree of control over their manifestation process.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't
Yes.
control everything because there are limits to what you can do here on Earth. Otherwise, everybody would be rich. We'd all win the lottery. We'd all be dating a beautiful woman or a man. We'd drive
Mm-hmm.
big cars. Yeah, there'd be no one around to do all the work. So there are limits. So, but within those limits, you have a degree of control of what comes in your life and how you can actually manifest things around you. So it is very important, actually.
It's very different because it sort of defies what we know medically. You
Yeah,
die for 3 days. How does the body, I mean, how does it come back? I mean, the essence can do just about anything,
exactly.
but
Well, because you hang out with your guides and they'll say, well, nice to have you back here, but you know what? It's not time yet. And you're sitting there going, please don't send me back. It hurts. Well, back you go. Yeah, because you're here for a reason.
yes.
It's also the reason why, I work with a group of very psychic people. And so far, we've won the lottery so many times. We've lost $156 million. Something always happens that gets in the way that we forget to play. It's
Right.
become so humdrum that we do just for a laugh because we've realized we're not here to be rich by working the lottery. We're here to do it some other way. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the point I'm trying to make. We all have a purpose here. And if you
Yes.
force it, you will get what you want, but that's your ego talking, and you will get it. And then you'll realize pretty soon that wasn't what was meant for you, and it's going to hurt. And
Eh,
your relationships are usually a good example. I want that beautiful woman. Bang, she did it again. And you think, no, actually, I should have been concentrating on my studies or doing something a bit more realistic.
mhm.
I wanted to go that way, but that was my manhood talking. I knew that well, and the gut feeling she wasn't going to be good for me, and eventually your gut feeling will tell you. But that's a very sort of simplistic argument.
Sure.
We can't, when you have been on the other side, you do have a certain degree of the loss of control of fear. So you are able to control fear to a huge degree, which means your life becomes much more useful. And I've actually seen that in myself. Not just talking because I've read this stuff. it's also happened to me, and I've been challenged in certain occasions where I realized actually that was a really dumb thing for me to do in the way I reacted. But I realized I didn't have any fear of this. Like someone would come up to me with a gun, and I'd think, well, what are my options? Am I going to give him my money and he's going to shoot me? I know. I'm going to take him out with me. And I just ran straight towards the guy with the gun. And that's the last thing they expect you to do, to project strength. That's a stupid thing to do, but I bloody well won that argument. I figured if I'm going to go, I'm taking you with me, matey. And then I'll get the hell out of you when we cross over for a whole lifetime. And I suddenly realized, actually, I wasn't afraid. I mean, that's really weird, but I wasn't afraid. So that's one of the things that you do as a benefit is you gain control over yourself. Your soul becomes much more aware of itself within the body, and you can continue your life in a much more open and observable way. And that's why they call the initiates the risen from the dead. The dead are the people who walk through life. You have a difficult birth, it's a horrible life, then you die. The Indians call them the corpses to this very day. But the initiates risen, they're the risen from the dead. They're no longer associating just with the physical. They got one foot in the stars as well. What a great place to be.
No kidding. Have you tried it?
Well, it wasn't voluntary, but I experienced it a couple of times in certain temples. And I have to say, it was great fun, and they sent me right back. And this very day, I am not allowed to sit in the box in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid. I've been there. I know where you go, and people are there all the time. Oh, there's one member in my group. We only lost the guy for 20 minutes. We had a hard time trying to bring him back to consciousness. And I warned him, don't go into that box until we do certain preparations, because leaving is easy. It's the return that's difficult. You've got to need to know where you're going. That's why you've got to memorize the charts and the incantations and the spells. That's what they're there for, because you get sidetracked. He was already one way out, and it's dangerous. But I did have the opportunity without realizing what I was getting into, because someone's looking after me, because I had to write about it, you see. And then I went, wow, that was interesting. Can I go? No, I can't go. Come on, let me go back in. Just please, just 5 seconds. No.
Give me a little longer this time.
If I'm allowed to leave, I'm not coming back. It's bloody painful down here. But I've got to do,
It is, but you know what? I always say you're living the dream, really. You are discovering all of this fantastic information. But I mean, you work for it.
It's hard work. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's lonely. It can be depressing. Getting a girlfriend is always a bit of a problem. So you kind of work on your own a lot of the time. So it's frustrating. But I know I envy myself because I had the chance to travel. I mean, we were the last group out of Egypt in March, and I was completely oblivious as to what was really going on. And we were fine. We take basic precautions. And we were the first group to go back into Egypt in September. We had a blast. And I figured someone's obviously looking after me. I'm not going to push it. I know my limitations. And I was just thinking, Yucatan in January, I don't think this is going to work. I'm not going to push it. And you know what? The whole thing's fallen through. And I thought, okay, that's fine. There's a reason for that. We'll go, but it's not a big deal. But no, we do have a lot of fringe benefits, and unusual things do happen in the periphery on these groups. Or the way I usually promote it is, I want you to have a personal experience where you go. I'm just teaching you a little bit of what it's like. I want you to come back a bit quietly on your own, because it is an individual journey, and Scotland's a very good place to do that in the stone circles.
Oh, I love Scotland.
I don't think we've ever come up with more than a couple of or 3 people, the places where I take people.
Wow.
Place to ourselves. Even if it's raining, you don't leave. You're just glued to the stone for This isn't tourism. This is actual being at the site.
Yes.
And they would drink heavily afterwards, which is part of the fun.
See, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'd say just drink heavily and then try to do the resurrection.
Oh, you can't. You can't
come out of it.
You can't do drugs or alcohol. It impairs the process altogether. In fact, you miss out so much.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say this, but you do miss out so much, because the experience is so personal, so eye-opening, that you want to be totally conscious for the whole thing.
Oh, honestly, I would not want to be drunk during one of your tours, because I think
afterwards.
Yeah, it would just be so enlightening. Honestly, before COVID hit, because I did discover you, back before COVID, I'm a very thorough researcher myself. I'm going, okay, this man does all of these tours and events, and I'm just going to do some. I've been to Egypt. I love it. I'm like, and I want to see it through different eyes. I want to explore all of this. And then COVID hit, and I'm thinking, I don't think I'm going anywhere this year. It was a devastating, realization. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I'm definitely going to do some of your events once the world settles down a little bit, because it's fascinating. It really is. It's almost as though, this is something that each and every one of us can do, and it should be embedded within ourselves to naturally be able to do this. Yet, here we have to go and learn how. It's like we forgot ourselves somewhere.
Exactly. We lost track of the natural world, the very place that gave us birth. I mean, the first time in human history, think about this, we've given away our God-given ability to connect with the very organism that gives us life.
Mm-hmm.
For a little machine about this big, we're totally addicted to. I remember a time when the hurricane hit New Jersey a few years ago, just down the road. Well, comparatively speaking, in North America, everything's down the road. The young people who, there's no electricity, there's no cell phone tower, they couldn't get any signal, and suddenly, oh my God, where do I go and get some water or some bread? It's 3 blocks away. They couldn't even function without Google Maps. I mean, that's how stupid we become.
Yes.
This terrible Achilles heel. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't like using my phone whenever I want to, when I'm in trouble, where I have to make a phone. I really have to make a phone call. But you use my goddamn wits just to get me, acclimatized to people. I want to remember phone numbers. If the electricity goes out, I know the phone number. I don't have to go to the box because the battery's worn out. So you want to be able to be in that situation where you are working with nature and you can feel nature. You shouldn't be doing this today because the clouds are telling you there's going to be a terrible storm coming. You don't have to watch it on the Weather Channel. That's why we're in this terrible predicament where we're totally open now. We're totally let ourselves in for some terrible things to happen. COVID is just a minor brush. Wait till you see what else is coming out of Mongolia right now. There's bubonic plague coming out of there. That's the problem. And there's 4 people already dead from that. And
oh my God. Why are we not hearing about this?
Because we're all basically caught up with COVID. But the problem is, Siberia is defreezing, and with that defreezing, you're letting out all of these microbes that have been defrosted for 30,000 years. That's a bit of a problem.
Yes.
When there's a lot of bog and a lot of swamp, things breed in there, and we have no antidote for that stuff. That's what we're concerned about. So, you've got to build up your immune system, get fresh air, get some sunlight, get some vitamin D. And I drink a little bit of scotch every evening just to clear the passage because it's good for you.
Zach was asking, what are you drinking?
This is hibiscus juice.
Oh, there you go.
I brought it from Egypt. I bought a bunch of flowers. I just put it in my water bottle. That's very good for keeping out COVID, by the way. Honey is fantastic because, remember, it goes through your respiratory tract. If you can keep this clean, unless you already got if your immune system is already busted, and that's the people that we really have to worry about, and look after them, they're in huge danger. And any virus. But honey, taking all that honey, putting it in here, cleansing it, that's good for you. What else? Camphor is fantastic. And you also get a good high from it, by the way. Stick a couple of plugs up your nose. I mean, that's what how the Chinese got around bubonic plague. It was the camphor. That basically cleans everything. No virus is going to go in there when they smell that stuff.
No.
And I usually take with me on tours when someone starts sneezing and I got a special formula. Struck it down the bus and said, put this up your nose. And before the day's over, everybody's hallucinating. So it's about common sense and doing the best you can so that you can stay healthy to help those that are not so fortunate.
So we've sort of been doing it wrong a little bit with the stay indoors. Like I made a point of going out and walking, pretty regularly just because of fresh air. Like it's just you can't not have fresh air.
Yeah, and it's actually worse being inside because you've got all this synthetic stuff around you.
Yes.
You go to the beach. I go to the beach twice, 3 times a week. I'm very lucky in that respect here on the coast. And yeah, you got all those wonderful endorphins going and
Yes.
yourself out. I mean, the trick is if you're near someone, yeah, cover your mouth. Don't put it, just to
No,
make them feel
exactly. Common
comfortable.
sense.
It's not a big deal, really. I mean,
Yeah.
back in 1918 when the flu broke out, everybody's wearing masks, and they got through it, and they were our grandparents. So if it worked for them, it works for us because we're alive because of them taking basic precautions. It killed a lot of people, but you know.
They're just convincing you that this can kill you. They're like, okay, we're going to give you a vaccine. But you just said that it can kill me. Aren't you putting it in the vaccine? I don't think I want to do that. You need to think about that.
Have no idea what they're doing. They're just panicking. They have no idea. I mean, people in government, most people are in the wrong job. They really, and I'm talking about Britain as well. We have an idiot running the country and a whole bunch of idiots around them. They're just there to make money for themselves. And until people recognize, look for the right people and do some background work on who you're voting for, we're going to be stuck with this nonsense. We're a minority running everybody else. But the trick is I find a lot more people when I go touring, like in Ohio, and you think, Ohio, you? said, yeah. I have a lot of fans in Ohio, and they come out of the woodwork in tiny towns that, you know, you're struggling on Google to find out where these things are. And the hall is packed, and they're doing exactly what we're talking about. They're just slow, doing things sensibly and engaging with the natural world and looking after themselves. And, you know, you read a bit of the media and you keep track of what the snakes are up to, but you don't have to believe everything. And you've got to be very careful of what you're reading. And, you know, if there are a lot of stuff in this country specifically, there's a lot of stuff that's owned by right-wing media. You're not going to get information. You're going to get propaganda. You've got to go sometimes out of the country to find out what's going on in your country. So you should read the Spiegel in Germany. I mean, they'll tell you anything you want to know. If you bring the German government, they'll print it. I mean, that's real investigative journalism. So you've got to be very specific and choose what you're looking at and then protect yourself, do the right thing. So...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at wandering over onto about 400 acres in the woods and being left alone.
And you get the deer tick and you go, oh, perhaps I should go indoors.
I know, it's starting to look really good. You know, just like, you know.
Gangrene is starting to look really nice right now.
I know.
I mean, think about it. When we had bubonic plague in Europe, what did we get out of it? The Renaissance. Good things always come out of tragedy. I mean, the tide goes out. The tide goes in, the tide goes out. We've been here over this before. I mean, right now, 95% of the world is at peace. There's no historical precedent for this. We're not, we're not hanging black people from trees anymore. Most women have a vote. Gay rights are making enormous progress. So we are advancing. All you have to look at is what we were doing 300 years ago, and you think, I need to stop whining. I am really having a great life. I even have heat and electricity and a car. They didn't have any of that stuff back then. So comparatively speaking, we're doing much, much better. So you've got to keep a sense of perspective. And I think that's what we lose over time, is that sense of perspective. We get caught up in the rush. Take a step back, like the initiates do. See the big picture and your position in it. And you go, hey, okay, I see this is part of a cycle. It's part of many cycles. We've been through it before. But how much of it do I want it to influence me? And what can I do to work with it so that it's much more comfortable? Okay, you can't fight it. You've got to work with it and around it, like a reed bending in the wind. That's a basic initiatic tradition. Again, the old stuff is always full of interesting wisdom, isn't it?
No, it is. You know, some of us have great vision, but then we're surrounded by people who have tunnel vision, and you're always knocking into you. It's just like
younglings. You know, I like reading Eckhart Tolle, for example. He does it so well with a great sense of humor.
Yes.
And after reading one of his books, I thought, well, I know nothing. And there's one line he says, here's a simple test to find out how spiritual you are, how spiritually advanced you are.
Right.
Try spending a week with your parents. And I thought, damn it, he's absolutely right. I couldn't last more than 2 hours.
Oh, really?
So there you go. You know, there's always someone to teach you something.
That's true. That's true. No, it's true. Some people are pretty draining. You know, I just learned how to ground my energy and just try to, you know, get one of those electric bug zappers. Just put it on the end of
over you.
Yeah, that's right.
Like Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see.
Yes, so I agree.
Be the change you wish to see.
I agree.
The best quotes. If you're in trouble, just remember anything by Gandhi, and you go, That's a good advice.
No, he was full of it. I try to always start my day with a few inspirational quotes, before you tackle social media, tackle the news, tackle clients. I work all the time and I'm just like, okay, I have my latte and try to look at some inspirational stuff and just make myself feel good. And before you know it, because there's enough things in the day to agitate me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
just,
It's like the Dalai Lama's 49 affirmations, and all very serious.
yeah.
And you get to the 49th one, and it says, approach cooking and love with reckless abandon. I thought, he's got a sense of humor, that guy. There's also one called the Daily Mash in Britain, because we don't take anything seriously in Britain. And I just posted something on my Facebook page about someone that did all these ideas for Christmas carols with a COVID theme. You're going to have to go to the bathroom before you watch this. You're going to be peeing yourself. It's so funny what they've done to it. And they tackle adversity with humor. I mean, they got through the Second World War being bombed to death by the Luftwaffe. And so they made funny jokes about Hitler. I mean, sometimes humor is a great healer, a great way to go through life.
Oh, it is. It is. Everything is too serious.
For people.
No, it's true. Everything is too serious. You can't even... you can't even joke with people sometimes because it's just like, oh, that's just like politically incorrect, or that's just racially incorrect, or sexually incorrect, or, and I'm just like, I'm just not going to open my mouth.
There's 8 billion people on Earth. You just walk and find the next person that will get it and you'll be fine.
Yeah, just throw my little quips around and hope that the first person that gets it's like, okay, see right there. You're okay. You, on the other hand, no.
If you almost fail, just have the one line that always gets you out of trouble. Did you want fries with that? Yeah. And somehow it flusters everybody, and you just walk with a smile on your face. You walk upright and you continue. Yeah, you got to find your sort of lines of defense.
Yeah, mine is like, you want cheese with that wine?
Yeah. Or you lift over your head and swallow. That's always a great one. I think a bit of humor as well, a bit of sarcasm. I think it helps. It's less confrontational.
I know, because then people are trying to figure out if you've actually just insulted them. Did you just insult me? No.
One of my favorite singer-songwriters, he was being heckled in an audience one day, and he got tired of it. He said, listen, you know what? What? You're absolutely right. And the guy says, I am? He says, yeah, but you know what? I'm right too. Well, you can't argue with that one, can you? I thought,
you can't.
I'm going to write that one down in case I get a heckler in my audience.
Yeah, I can't see you getting a heckler, to be honest.
Oh, I got one in Utah, in Ogden.
Oh, I don't even believe that.
In a health food store, and I said, well, I'm just down the road in Salt Lake City. If you can guarantee 30 people in the room and there's a check for me at the end of the day, I'll speak anywhere.
Yeah.
And it was 50 people packed upstairs and all.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just getting into the rhythm. The first few minutes, you've got to get that stride. You've got to feel the audience. It's quite dark. And there's a guy at the back says, and I hope I'm doing a good accent here, what the hell's he talking about? I said, listen, if you want to rent the room and do a lecture, I know you can talk to I'll do the lecture for now. And then I started talking, and about 5 minutes later, he goes, hell, I guess he knows what he's talking about. And then he gets up and he falls down the stairs. It turns out he was a bum. He was drunk. He just walked off the street. He got through the entrance. No one noticed him. And he just fell down the stairs.
So he managed to get into a Freddy Silva seminar completely unnoticed.
History of funny things to say, of things that have happened to me over the years. I like Utah. I really have a lot of time for Utah. It's a very interesting place.
That's a good one, actually. Question. Was Alésia, France, or France in general, one of those Atlantean outposts? Now, Bart has just been, I just introduced him to your Templar book. And he's just like, I can't even get over how amazing this is. So he's watching tonight. And he also does tours in the south of France also.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
I haven't spent enough time there, and I should do.
Oh, he's been all over, and he does a lot of tours down there, and just very metaphysical, much like yourself.
Oh, good for you.
So that's why he's asking about south of France, because he's going to be, I think, relocating down there also. So was Alésia, France, or France in general, one of those Atlantean outposts? Is the question.
hard to say. There's no evidence to back it up. However, you're not far from Sardinia, which I do believe, along with Corsica, was an outpost at the very end. But you have the Languedoc, the whole region was Languedoc, and together with the area around Barcelona, it's very mystical, has a long tradition of mysticism, and I would not be surprised if it was a kind of an outpost of safety, where you didn't want to go further inland in Europe because it was full of barbarous people. It would not surprise me, but you can't prove it yet. But the fact that so many mystics have lived there in the last 2,500 years does tell me something that it's very special. And that's what I'm saying. I'd love to go and spend more time there. It's just been, my head's been somewhere else. But I do love that part of the world, and I will spend more time there, especially around Carcassonne.
I love Carcassonne.
I want to relocate. I don't practice my French. I have dreams of marrying a French actress. I won't give you the names of who they are because they're very beautiful and very wonderful actresses. But
Carcassonne is beautiful. I know.
Practicing mon français.
Oh, c'est bon.
Oh, oui.
Oui, oui.
I do agree that there's something quite mystical in the fact that you've got this connection to Mary Magdalene in that part of the world.
He does Mary Magdalene tours.
And the slight Templar interchange with the Cathars, even though they didn't always see eye to eye. There's a big secret down there that Bajent, Lee, and Lincoln tapped into in terms of the geometry, how things are located. And I love their research.
Rennes-le-Château. That's
absolutely.
The whole... I love Rennes-le-Château. Yeah,
the three guys, they're some of my heroes. I mean, I quote them as a source of authority and make me look good. So, in fact, I just read one of Michael's more obscure books last week. I've just bought it, just had it here. Fantastic, about Armageddon. His view of Armageddon. Oh, it's fascinating. It will totally explain how messed up America is and why it's messed up. And it's a small group of people that are messing everything up. The rest of it's fine.
Right.
You know, I think 99.9% of all my American friends are wonderful people, but it tells you exactly what's going on here. And I didn't see that one coming. So, no, their research is right on the pulse, I think. So, no, I do. There is something special down there, and especially around the Pyrenees, because you've got a vast country. And I just discovered that recently for a project I'm involved with right now about the origin of the Basque people. Turns out they're from Armenia.
Really?
Exactly. So now I have to go to Armenia once they stop the civil war that's going on there to look at some connections with our friends, the Lords of Anu, who become the Tuatha de Danu, who become the Tuatha de Danann of Ireland. And it pins us on to why I think the temples in Scotland, on the west coast of Scotland and Orkney, are part of that all-divine bloodline. So I have to go to Ireland.
I completely agree with you. And
something there.
There is something there. There is something there. And here's a little tidbit of information for you. I found out through my lineage, which one part of it's all on my mom's side, her parents, and they keep crisscrossing through time. But on my grandfather's, his line, which was up near Alsace-Lorraine, northern, somewhere way back, the townspeople bought land all around Rennes-le-Château.
Wow. Well, and Alsace-Lorraine was where a lot of the Templars came from. And a lot of the Cistercians came from. The same people, essentially.
Yes. Well, that's part of my lineage.
Wow.
And that's where
you have red hair.
yeah.
And they did actually have natural red hair, that lineage, oddly enough.
Yeah. Well, somewhere along the line, it got passed down anyway that the townspeople, which would have included my family, bought land all around Rennes. So they obviously thought it was of great importance to do so.
Excellent.
So, yeah, well, yeah, it's interesting. It's just, like I said, it's been a journey. So, and as much as I'd love to keep you all night, literally, it's we have had you for an hour, and I don't want to impose on your time any further. I'm hoping you maybe come back again sometime because.
Well, okay.
Okay, good. That's good because I saved a spot for you.
Yes, send a bottle of 16-year-old Lagavulin to his address.
We book about many months in advance. I saved you a spot. So, not so many months in advance, but I'll definitely. I will definitely. You just have so much It's a matter of what do you want to talk about next? Because I could literally, probably do it once a month and it would still be different every single time. So I've been
Pubs
perusing
of Southern England next time.
the which?
Mystical pubs of Southern England next time.
I have been to some of those pubs, I'm sure.
We call them research facilities.
I
am so desperate for a pub right now. Oh god! And in fact, there's one near Heathrow Airport that not many people know of. It's a very old pub. It's like 16th century, and there's a massive jumbo jet flying over it because it's over runway 3. But it's the last remains of the village that was there before they took out the whole thing to build the runway. And my hotel is right across the meadow where some horses are. No one knows it exists. And that's where I usually go to get around the restrictions, just have a pint with real food, and people keeping 6 feet away. And you just drink and you eat bangers and mash. It's like, to feel human again.
I know there's nothing like
British food. Sneak back to the hotel and pretend you haven't left.
Oh, I love it. Heathrow is its own city.
All the time.
I know. How did you even find this place? Heathrow is its own city. You could be there for freaking days and you'd be lost.
Or just, you just use your. Oh, by the way, it's called the Green Man as well, which is I think is really funny because what did I do? The Green Man pub next to my hotel. I figured the gods are having a good laugh at my expense.
Either that or it's a sign.
Yes, it is.
It's a good sign because you found it. So tell everybody how to find you before you leave.
Oh, you can find me at invisibletemple.com. Books, DVDs, don't support Jeff Bezos. He's already a trillionaire. We're all struggling. Musicians are struggling. Buy from them if you can. And there's lots of free articles as well. You'll be there for like a week. So enjoy it.
Yes. No, perfect. Like I said, I've been to the site. I peruse it and there'll be more coming. But you'll probably hear from me saying, because I already have this and I'm looking at this and put something together for me. So.
But wait, there's another one coming. That's been the good thing about sitting at home for quite a bit. I've had all this material sitting around. I've done 3 documentaries this year, and I'm really happy with all of them. I mean, they've been really high-end stuff on a shoestring budget, and working a couple of other things. So, no, it's been very productive.
I can't believe how much you're just popping out every time, because you can look at your feet. I'm like, what, another one?
There's a reason why this is happening.
No, but now's the time, because once you start traveling, it's like when I bought my last set of stuff. Okay, I'm leaving for Egypt, but let me see if I can put it together. What? You have to put it together. How long are you gone for? So you were actually like right on that. I mean, and it arrived fairly quick, so I was really grateful. So anyway, now I'm due for more reading material and more to watch. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I'll put another 100,000 word tome together.
Perfect. So thank you. It was such an honor to have you join me tonight. Honestly, I've been fangirling all night, so thank you very much for just. I know. It's like watching you on Gaia when you met Freddie Mercury. That's me right now.
I met Freddie Mercury when I was 14. Oh, it ruined my life. Lovely man. He was dating women back then. He was arm in arm with this goddess, and you're never going to find a woman that looks anything like that ever. It was for you. But, he signed my autograph book and they tapped me on the head and I thought, I've been touched by a god. I looked upon a goddess. How more horrible can my life possibly be now?
I know. You think it's...
No, he was a lovely man, actually. He was very, very missed, very talented and a huge influence on me, actually. And he was the reason why I wanted to become a rock musician. And I really did want to become a rock musician. I just didn't realize that my future was in rocks, not rock music. It was a slight,
It's perception. You see, if you don't, the universe is a bit of a funny sense of humor. So if you don't say exactly what you want, you get...
They're bastards. They're total bastards.
That's it. So you got rocks. You kind of got half of it.
I got my Fender Strat in the cabinet. I got my Marshall amp. I think I'll go and play after this.
Well, there you go. That's what you should do a video of.
The neighbors are out. It's quite loud.
Freddy Silva, up close and personal. There we go. You're already famous. So just add an extra something in there.
I'll go outside and busk just for a living. Just put some glasses on and just sit there.
Why not?
That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it?
Just get, the neighbors will all spill out of their windows and their houses. And
the king's up the road and Dan Brown's over there. So.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Dan Brown's got to be into it. So, yeah, come on, you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of like looking at the same stuff.
He's a writer, but he's a great storyteller. He's a lovely guy, you know. And he's done us no end of service by putting, you know, he takes the stuff that we do, puts it into a fictional thing, and then people start get curious about my work and other people's work. So I think he's done us a huge favor. But like I say,
yes and
he's not a
no.
great writer, but he does know how to tell a good story. That's the important thing.
Yeah, but because of him, when I went to run the chateau, I couldn't get into the cemetery. It said there was a sign that said, since, okay, the Da Vinci Code, the cemetery has been closed. I'm like,
no,
you, Dan Brown. I was like, totally bitter.
It hasn't done Rosalind Chaplin any harm. They've got millions of pounds fixing their roof, but you go in and it's one of their guys will still complain about the Da Vinci Code. It's like,
oh, I know. And they don't let you touch anything.
Shut up. What are you
You have to walk around like this, too. You can't touch it, anything. You just walk around and just observe.
This time of the year, in the winter, you can do whatever you want. I actually found a hidden crypt there, and everybody got pretty pissed off. Said, how'd you do that? Oh, 2 dowsing rods. Am I right? Well, taking the response, I'm right. Said,
did they throw you out?
Hidden crypt. And it comes out the side of the hill. How the hell did you know this? Dowsing. God, they were not happy, but they were. They said, "Well, come back in the winter. We'll show you the crypt, but just quiet." Said, okay.
Wow. Look at you go. I'm very jealous.
I know. I was going to go, but I can't get into the country. I have to stay in quarantine for 14 days.
No, it's true. You have to have lots of time. It's funny, you know, because I was approached by a producer to do filming. And they said, what do you think your dream job is? I said, I don't know, whatever Freddy Silva does. And I'm not lying. They're like, oh, okay. Just want to explore. I can't write a book with crap, but I think I'll do the exploration part. That'd be kind of cool.
Absolutely. Well, you never know. Go for it.
Well, I know. But anyway, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good weekend. Hey, bye-bye now. Well, that was awesome. Now I can cough my face off without embarrassing myself. Anyway, wow. That was just like really huge for me. I had a really wonderful time. That man is just brilliant, wealth of information. But it's going to continue because now we've got Joe Montaldo coming on and we're going to get into a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's always fun when Joe's on. So we'll have to wait for Joe to make his way over here and see. There he is. Where are you? There we go. Perfect. And the party keeps going.
Yeah, y'all can't see me tonight. I'm hidden. I like this.
No, turn some lights on. What are you doing?
No, I like this, man. This is good. Nice and little pretty Christmas tree back there. Oh, look at all the pretty colored lights back there.
I know. You're just trying to torture me with the Christmas lights.
I feel like I'm in a disco, man.
I know.
I used to like the disco. Yeah, or dance, whatever the hell you want to call it. It was fun. It was good. Kept you healthy. Made you look good. Kept you in shape.
Well, that was something.
It was fun. I like listening to the guy. It's a lot of fun. I like his house, too. It's pretty. Nice, open, sweeping area. The only thing about it is somebody got to tell him, no, he needs to get a little pad for his mic and stuff, because when you got a big room like that, it makes your audio sound a little hollow. But other than that, it's great. It's, yeah, or put some kind of rug underneath you. Either way. I can't help it as a producer.
No, I think you just want the acoustics to go. That way you could just annoy the neighbors. That's what I'd be doing. So, you know, I don't know. I don't think he well, mind you, now with COVID, he's probably spending more time at home. I personally would be just, God, I don't know. I would just be wanting to travel all the time. It's interesting because he's been to many parts of the world that I've been to. And when he speaks of them, I can really relate to them. It's like, oh my God, I know exactly where this is. So it's always interesting.
Europe, but they won't let me come back. I'm banned. I've been banned from the EU.
You're banned from everywhere. I don't know what you do to
banned
people.
From the EU. You know, it's funny, people. I'm like the BBC in a way, because BBC gets their ass banned from all over. That's why we're in more countries than the BBC. It's why we're in more countries than NBC, ABC, or CNN, because they get their asses banned. You see, I don't get the station banned. I just get myself banned. I'm not sure how that works, but no, I was told, you know, by Egon himself, I am not welcome in there. He said, you cannot talk about us like that and expect us to let you come into our country. I was like, I'm like, really? You suck. I said, the only thing good about France is Paris. The rest of it sucks. He's like, wait, what? Whoa.
What are
It's
you
like,
new?
no,
It's
that's
like
that. Before anybody from
everything.
France writes to me,
You
I'm just
just
teasing.
no,
I
man.
got
You
a
just
lot of
haven't
friends
been to
in
the right
France,
parts of France. That's all.
and I like the ones. Well, I got a couple different friends in France, and some live down by the water, some live up in the mountains, and some do 3 different things. A couple of my friends own these little shops. They go work in their shop all week, and they either go up to the mountains on the weekend or go down to the Mediterranean on the weekend. And they got places down there, beautiful places, and they tease me with all the time, some of these beautiful pictures of beautiful blue water. I'm like, kiss my ass, how's that? I'm like, I said, I'm living on the Gulf Coast.
Were you not hearing Freddie talk about just all this positive vibrations and keeping it just flowing?
The universe gonna vibrating on you.
We get another flood, you're gone.
I'm ready for the universe to take it. You know what?
Zeta almost took your butt right out.
It's like me and the universe not speaking terms at the moment. They hacked me off a couple weeks back with that shit. And the universe, like, hey, you better chill. I'm like, no, dude, I own this place. And they're like, oh yeah, watch this. In case y'all know what we're talking about, we just went through a hurricane. The studio and all went through a hurricane. You can't tell from inside, but you can from outside. It still looks like hell out there. My yard looks like it's like a slop pit is what it looks like. It's just pathetic. It's all brown mud everywhere. I'm like, it will take literally probably a year to get all the mud out of my yard from rain, from all that. There's so much that soot comes up, but who cares? They got little gnomes that live in that soot. I was thinking about you the other day because I seen 2 little gnomes floating up to my yard. I was like, look at this shit.
I'm not a fan of gnomes.
I'm thinking you must have put a spell on me because here comes these little gnomes floating along. I'm like, what the hell?
It's funny because as interested as I am in ancient cultures and possible civilizations that maybe, like we've had guests on talking about fairies and elves and all kinds of things. And, very much could all be a thing. I've never personally seen any. There's just something, I think I remember seeing a clip with a gnome one time, and this thing was sidestepping across the street. And I'm looking at it going, I don't know, there's something about this little pointy-hatted little chubby beings that were just flying around,
Gnomes are supposed to be evil anyway. There's nothing good about a damn gnome.
Thank you.
Target practice is all they're good for. I'm just telling you, that's all they're good for.
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of gnomes at all.
I'll toss them out in the bayou, take a shotgun out.
Oh my God, you would. When I was in Romania, gnomes are very popular in Romania. And
I have a lot of target practice in Romania.
Yeah, they had them everywhere. Seriously, everywhere.
Get one of them little pump-up pellet guns so they don't hear you.
Oh, yeah.
You going down the highway would be 50 of them little cracked little things going down.
All the roadside, little shops and stuff had like multitudes of gnomes. And of course, my friends who I am with thought it would be very funny. We rented this villa. We stayed at this villa, and they decided, okay, they know how much I hate them, so we're just going to put all these little creepy gnomes outside Michelle's door. So when she opens the door, she's going to see all these thinking little gnomes. Just open the door with complete disdain. It was like, this is not even funny. Anyway, I don't know what it is. It's just something about them. I don't know. I wouldn't want to end up in Iceland or Norway and
factory.
Oh, sure.
She's out there pumping them out of her house, little gnomes taking over the world. Possessed little bastards.
That would be a thing.
I could see it now.
That would not be a thing. No, I don't think so.
A friend of mine, Brian, tells me all the time. He says that's why you keep a pellet gun. He said that way when you shoot them, they crack. They just gnomes to just yard ornaments. He said, but when they go out, you're like, oh shit, you're in trouble now because the gnome's coming for you.
No, I wouldn't take my whatever part of my intellectual mind to put into a gnome factory. It just wouldn't be a thing. Sorry. No.
Yes, evil gnomes taking over Canada. It's probably Majestic Castro up there. He got probed by a gnome.
Oh, see, Zach says, I have a deal with the warehouse gnomes at my job. They steal my sodas, pens, and paper clips.
Damn, even gnomes. See, they're evil, man. I'm telling you, those suckers are evil.
No, they're troublemakers. So, oh my God. So,
a lady just a couple weeks ago sent me a picture of an alien looked like a gnome. I was like, get the hell out of here. What kind of drugs are you?
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing you need to shoot every gnome you see. You crush them, torture them. They ugly, stupid looking. Just.
Oh my God!
I know.
Almighty.
I'm gonna hear from the Gnome Society tomorrow. I can see it coming, but it's and that's a thing
The
somewhere.
Gnome Society.
I'm sure that's a thing somewhere. I have no doubt about that.
No,
in
that's
this crazy COVID infested world.
No, that's not even funny. But before we go on, I'm going to have to take a minute to extend a huge thank you out to Folgers Coffee for partially sponsoring tonight's show and stop by not only the UFO Paranormal Radio station on YouTube. So you can still go to the United Public Radio Network and subscribe there also. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1. You just go on there and see what you end up with. And while you're on United Public Radio, feel free to, maybe look into the memberships and unlock that door to a whole lot of other content. Thank you. Just done my little station ID bit.
That's right, people. Get your ass over there and
come on with the boss.
That's right.
Get your ass over there. See?
I'm just saying, man, get over there and help out people. Look, we already got to deal with crazy ass YouTube giving us trouble. Yeah, see, the Gnome Society. See, I knew there was such a thing. People, y'all, look, people, get lives. Oh man. Oh, now you're gonna send me the history of the Gnomes. Give me a break. Now I'm getting people sending me the history of the Gnomes. Amelia, was that you? That was some weirder person sent me that. I'm just saying, somebody weirdy sent me that. It's
maybe they're extraterrestrial. You're the extraterrestrial.
If they're extraterrestrials, we're all in deep dog doo. Is all I can say.
Okay, so I'll take that as a no.
No, I don't think that's extraterrestrials. ET's been a busy little beaver. I was talking with Erin Montgomery last night. She's a contactee. She's got the book out, A Dirty Little Secret, a contactee story. I was like, oh, I love that title, by the way. Yes, it is a dirty little secret. It's like coming out of the closet. It's like being gay and coming out the closet. I coined it about 20 years ago, and a gay friend of mine said, I can't believe you said these are just like we don't have enough connotations. I'm like, dude, it's the same thing. I said, these people, when they come out, man, people give them nothing but crap. You saw an alien. You've been abducted by an alien. Oh my God, you can't work here anymore. Go get out of here. Oh, we're taking your kids away. And they used to take your kids away for that stuff in the United States. They can't anymore, but they used to. Mm-hmm. Now they just say poor pity little kids and move on to the next one.
Oh my gosh.
It really is, but somebody's got to be sacrificed so the others can live. So there we go.
What is that?
I'm just saying, some got to be sacrificed so the others can live. It's Oh yeah, Jack. Yes, what it is. We're gonna sacrifice all the poor people so all the rich people can live. Well, I ain't poor, but I ain't rich either. This is some bullshit going on around here.
And I'm just not talking.
And, Michelle's like stinking rich. She got more money than God.
No. Only have travel money.
Actually, her and Amelia run the whatever they call it up there. We got the money people down here. They run it up there. No, I'm just teasing people. Really.
No, but we should probably have shares in Starbucks.
It's conspiracies. Y'all didn't know she was part of the government? Oh, God.
Oh, my God. You're going to get me getting hate mail for nothing.
See. Oh, no. She's the one who broke the story about Justin Castro, y'all. Oh, I thought y'all knew this.
That was Laura Lee. That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Oh, no. Actually, Mac, look, I know Michelle. I wouldn't try this if I didn't know you. You'd probably get smacked. Besides, she's got long enough arms to reach me right now.
Oh no! I'm not always grumpy. I'm not grumpy unless you poke the bear a little too much. That's all.
So we were coining the what was it? The princess. Wait, what? Oh no, we're not even going there anyway. Was the princess of the Canadian princess of darkness? Was that what it was? No, I don't think that's what it was.
People call me the queen of the dark realm, and I just laugh.
No, that's I'm saying it was pretty good.
Is it a new one?
Oh, when I see your show's up for an award, I seen that, huh? You seen that?
Oh yeah, shows up for an award. I don't know. I don't know much about the award. I
don't either. I just seen somebody sent me a thing, which I appreciate them sending us, and y'all go vote for them. I'll actually, you know what? I'll have to get into my email, or not in my email, in my message box, and pull it out so y'all can go vote for Michelle and Amelia. Yeah, go over there and vote. Vote, people, vote. Yes.
Yeah,
It's not Michelle's going to put a voodoo spell in your ass.
No, I'm not even like that, man. I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
I seen the other day she had this little doll and she was twisted. And then I heard somebody scream in her house. I was like, whoa, what's going on here, man? It scared me a little bit, people. I'm just saying.
Whatever.
The old man was okay. I was like, oh, man, what, he got in trouble or something?
It's very humbling to have been nominated. And thank you, Wes Coleman, who nominated the show. It's nice to know that the millions of listeners think, go out there and vote, all millions of you. We'll be sure to win.
Vote. Stop being so damn lazy.
I think it's called the Rewind Awards. I don't really know much about it. I've never.
SoundCloud people, stop being lazy. There's other world. You know what? There's more in the world than SoundCloud. I'm just telling y'all.
Yeah, I just,
I appreciate y'all, but still, it's more to. Oh man, what I do? Bad foot hit this camera. I'll straighten out in a minute. So you're going to be taken tonight. Please report tomorrow and let me know how it goes.
For what? Sorry.
No, I'm telling you, they're going to take you tonight. So just take notes. Keep it in your memory. I'm being absolutely serious.
Thank you, Joe. It's just what I want to hear. That's right. Those freaking little green men are going to freaking beam down into my freaking manor house. And just
so we're live on the radio. God knows how many people. Last time I checked, it was like 1.4 at the break. So,
great.
So they're going to take Michelle, and they're going to allow her to be at least reasonably conscious, and that way she can keep notes. Unless she freaks out, and then they're going to knock her ass out.
I'm actually pretty freaking relaxed about it. It's like, okay, whatever. If you're going to take some information, you dang well better be putting some back, and it better be something I already don't know, because I know lots of shit. It's like.
Where they take you on, show you around, this is a facility here, this is a facility there. Here's somebody being probed over here, things like that.
I don't want to see that shit. Take me to someplace that I can't go with COVID.
Oh, well, you're definitely going somewhere you can't go.
Okay, that's not what I mean.
Plus, you know what,
that's not what I mean.
No mask and no social distancing going on there either.
No, because talking with Freddy and talking about the south of France and Egypt, and okay, maybe they could just drop me off for a little while and pick me up later.
People, if you live in the south of France, you should be executed.
What?
Yes, they should all be executed. That way we can take over their land and property.
What the frick is what's wrong with you?
I'm just trying to. Hey, I'm for the poor people. We got to get some property back and take that land's been held since Napoleon.
How such an enlightening conversation to try to take over France?
That land's been being held since Napoleon time. It's time to share and let us other people get over there.
I'm feeling like Howard Stern and Robin right now. Just saying.
I don't think I've ever watched Howard Stern, so I'll take that
I'm having a moment. Yeah.
Actually, no, Bruce, I don't think I've ever watched Howard Stern before. I've heard him once or twice, but I don't think I've ever watched him. I like having fun.
I was good with a couple of times. Yeah.
A couple of my friends are religious, listen to him. They like to get drunk as and listen. Yeah. Usually I like peace and quiet and relaxation and love light and laughter for the most part. But not always. Sometimes I like to wreak havoc, especially when I was younger. No, wreaking havoc has too many connotations. It's too many ripples. The pond I'm in is bigger now, so it just makes way bigger ripples than it used to. So
I was just about to say, are you having a Zen moment? Because they just felt like it completely relaxed. Your energy totally changed for a minute.
I can, it's funny because every now and then one of my friends I knew when I was in my 20s will hear me on the radio. Matter of fact, one of them heard me doing politics, and she writes to me. She goes, "Joe, you were the most peace-loving light guy I've ever met. So relaxed, so kick back." She said, "You just were so zen." And she said, "Now you're such an asshole." I said, "It's a good thing we're friends because you get my ass getting telling me that shit." And that was just like, well, sometimes I still zen now. It's just, unfortunately, as you get older, you realize some things are what you thought they were, and some things are like, no effing way what you thought they were. So, you get a little tainted in some things. But most of the part I enjoy my life. It's just these days I stay too busy. So I don't get as much time to relax as I used to. You got to stay busy. And we got so much research going on right now. We went back into research mode. So, and who said that? Oh no, Michelle and I are on Saturday. Yes, actually, it was what we were getting ready to talk about because Michelle's always researching too. So
Michelle never stops researching.
If it wasn't COVID, this is how my life would be: research, radio, travel, lecture, some TV, research, radio, same thing. It's just a pattern. And then I got to do my day job too. So it's like, okay, where's your life at again? Yeah, it's somewhere.
Research, film, radio, research, film. I'm glad. I'm really kind of relieved that I'm not filming. I'm almost contemplating not doing it again. Well, I'm really kind of like and enjoying just doing.
Well, I gotta be honest. I like the free travel and
sure
and visit with people and stuff like that. I think that's great.
Meet good people.
I've never done one of these yet with a minimum of 5 hours film. A minimum, people. Sometimes 10, 12. Last time I went, it was 12 hours. They got enough material. They would never have to bring me back on Ancient Aliens again. I got so much freaking material. I mean, Lord, unless they bring me on for the DNA stuff, which I haven't even sent them yet, there's no reason to bring me back on. I mean, we talk for hours. And on those last two episodes I was on, I think one of them was like, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, and one of them was like 4 minutes, 60 seconds, 4 minutes, 40 seconds, something like that. The first episode, I think it was like 6 minutes. The one I did for Discovery was about 6 minutes.
Well, I get much more exposure than that. I wouldn't waste my time otherwise.
That's because you're cute tonight, and that's how that is. But
still, for sure. No.
That shit helps you. I'm just telling you. Somebody asked me why does Ancient Aliens flip flop through so many opinions on one show? I said, because ufologists are ugly, man. They can't leave on the screen for too long. People are gonna turn the damn channel.
Well, here you are dissing the south of France. Do you know how many UFO sightings there are in the south of France?
I'm just saying we need to get rid of the snotty rich people.
Kinds.
There you go. I got some friends down there, and they some snotty SOBs. Matter of fact,
I've got nice friends in France.
Yacht park down there off the coast. And with a little private helicopter can pick his ass up when he flies. He keeps a yacht down there with a helicopter on it, crewed, even when he's here in America. It's just sitting down there waiting for him. I'm thinking, how you get a freaking job? I want to call him and say, man, why don't you give me a job sitting on a yacht 6 months when you're not there? I said, I'll leave when you come, man.
Yeah, well, you know what? If the world was perfect, I want to get back to traveling. And they're talking about, Canada is talking about, obviously, the vaccine and approving a vaccine. And, well, now they're talking, of course, a degree of immunity passport. And I'm like, kiss my hiney and
that's not going to go over well with a lot of people.
It's really not, because it is your freedom of choice and your human, basic human rights. However, it doesn't mean that they have to open all the doors. Like, you'll still be treated like you're in isolation, as opposed to, the rest of the world just kind of moving on. So I thought, well, that's interesting. But to me, as long as you're going on about how, COVID kills you, and you're talking about a vaccine that they put COVID in and then trying to put it into you, I don't know. I think I'm really good at that.
It's funny because more and more people, because you know how I am. I'm like today in the bank. I asked the 4 girls working with us, are y'all getting the vaccine? All 4 said no. I've been asking people, not just on the air, because I do it on the radio all the time, but everybody I've been talking to, I've been asking, are you getting the vaccine? And on the APC side, it's saying 50-50, but everybody I'm talking to is saying no. And I was like, it don't matter what color they are, black, white, Hispanic, they're saying no. Most of them, what they're saying really is, we want to wait 6 and 9 months to see how it affects everybody else, because I was listening to our politicians. They expect to be back to normal by the end of April, beginning of May, which would be great. I'm not going to argue with that.
If you take the vaccine, though.
If you take the vaccine. But the other argument is, why are you worried about the people who don't take the vaccine? It's only going to affect them. It's not going to affect the people who have been vaccinated. It's always been a problem of mine that, you can't send your kids to school if they haven't been vaccinated. Why? They're not going to give anybody the disease. Only they can get it. Everybody else has been vaccinated. So it's always been one of them kind of things you got to wonder about. Personally, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, people. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I grew up in the baby boomer generation and the X gens, and we got shitloads of shots. And I am almost 60, and I'm still kicking. So I'm not gonna hate them. And it did keep me from getting a lot of shit, but still, I can understand why people. And this particular virus, COVID, I can understand people being a little apprehensive, but just watch and see what goes on. I
But
mean,
that
the
might be the
UK is
least
getting
of
it.
our worries. Did you hear what Freddie was saying about the bubonic plague in Mongolia? The
Oh yeah, I
plague?
heard about it.
Like,
And it's not the only one. There's another one running around there besides that. It's right now. There's a couple things going on. You just got to wonder, if it's just Mother's Nature's way of saying, "Hey, look, it's time to thin the herd, and we're going to do it."
everything's melting, right? You got ice caps melting. You've got like you said, Siberia is
Well,
melting. You've got
for
old
me, I
bottles.
don't necessarily
That's
find
scary.
the ice caps melting as a bad thing. Now, if
No,
both
no,
caps melt, I'll be a little more upset. But the southern ice cap really isn't going to melt. It's the northern one is, and
no.
it's
But
not the first
basically, it's
time.
releasing things,
It
right?
is
Into
releasing, and when that
yeah,
permafrost goes, it's going to release a lot of carbon in the
sure,
atmosphere.
yeah.
But it's also going to open up rich, fertile land that we can grow crops on. It'll be a tempered climate like it was 2 million years ago. See, people forget everybody panics over this shit, but the planet's going through this. Not you can blame man all you want, but
Mhm.
this is not the first time the ice caps are melting,
No.
and it's not going to be the last time. The problem here is, ladies and gentlemen, it's just and the amount of carbon on this planet has been much higher. Also, the amount of oxygen on this planet has been much higher in the past. So, and that's in recent past. So you can't just freak out. If Mother Nature wants us to go, she'll just steer a meteorite here, and we'll be gone the next morning.
Mm.
Ooh, yeah, one of about the size of Texas would, even if you were underground, would pretty much melt you. You can peace, love, and
Mm.
light out, chanting as the asteroid smacks planet. All right, blah, 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 blah.
So
And
I
you're
want to I want to pick your brain because you have these monoliths showing up like everywhere right now, like
well, I
literally
keep telling
there's
people to
like
leave them
six or
alone.
seven of them that are up right now.
I don't know. I'm getting tired of having to move. Peter, it's expensive to make me keep moving these damn things. I said this a couple of weeks ago when I found my first one. I said, look,
Mm.
stop it. I said, they're not out there for you. They're out there for ET contact. And no, y'all got to go screw them with them and whatnot. So every time y'all find one, we got to move it. Just don't report them when you see them. Have they harmed anybody? No. Have they done anything to anybody? No. Has anybody disappeared? No. When you touch them, have you burned the flames?
Do you
No.
think they're a distraction? Do you think maybe somebody's just putting them
No.
out there to distract us from
Somebody's trying
everything?
to talk to ET.
You think that's what it is? Yeah.
Either that or it's just being artwork. Because there are a few friends of mine who will do that. They will go out and just a friend of mine in Colorado likes to go carve cave art, beautiful cave art too,
Mm.
and try to make it as authentic as he can. It's really pretty. And there's other people who do stuff like that. And it wouldn't be the first time
Mm-hmm.
someone put a monolith or a statue just randomly in the desert. Um, but it could also be a contact. But the one in Utah was made out of sheet metal. So it's definitely not extraterrestrial. The one that was in, what was it, Cairo, was some kind of pounded, I think he said it was a pounded copper. Um, Quite
Mm.
expensive to make.
And there's one in Romania. I think there's like six. There's
I
six,
think nine
seven
so
different
far
ones.
that I've
Nine.
seen.
There you
Nine so
go.
far that I've seen.
And some of
And
them haven't all disappeared. Some are still out there.
it's just well, whoever wrote me that, yeah, it could be ET, but ET's not going to do it like that. If ET's going to put a monolith down, you're going to know it's from them. It's going to be materials. You're going to be scanning it. You're going to be, what the hell is this stuff? And
Right.
you're not going to be able to move it or push it. It's going to be solid and planted in the ground. These were definitely man-made, or I would just say man-made.
Hmm.
And there's a reason they put them out there.
Right.
But like I said, it could just be art. People do weird things, and if someone goes to a particular place and hangs out all the time, they might have just thought, "Hey, this is a nice."
Yeah, but they're
addition.
going in places that they're really not supposed to infringe on with things like that.
That's the
Like,
point. If nobody's going out there, it's the perfect place because you can go out there and enjoy your art and do whatever it is. Especially places like Utah, they're probably out there getting high as kites on some peyote or some shit, looking at their monolith. And oh no, people, I have met some. What, New Agers? Oh my God, Jim! New Agers eat peyote like it's candy. Oh my God!
mm,
I've met so many of them out there tripping on that stuff. I've actually ran into people in the desert tripping on peyote. What kind of luck is that? I mean, really. And then I'm asked, "What's wrong with you?" "Oh, we did a little peyote." He's just puking all over the place. Peyote's not a nice scene in the beginning. That's all I can tell you. I'm sure it's a great trip, people, but still, I'm just telling you, it's not all it's cracked up. But they just out there. A part of me wants to say they're just artwork. A part of it wants to say it's a desperate attempt to contact something. Because it doesn't have to be ET. It could be spirits. It could be some kind of guides. It might be something to do with the Earth, trying to tap some spirits or some energy out of the Earth. I'm surprised none of them popped up in Sedona or any of the
well, not
vortex
yet.
sites around the planet. No, but not just there. I mean, any of the vortex places around the world. None of them seem to have popped up there. So it's kind of limited to what it's going to be. And it might have been a collective effort from the beginning. Some online friends decided to have some fun. But in all fairness, all of them were put in places that you would not normally see them. So it wasn't originally intended to be a press thing. It was originally intended to be some idea for them. Either, like I said, either for their own personal viewing or for somebody else's or for some kind of contact. But you know what? In all fairness, when we used to hunt, when we were young, we used to hunt. We'd find places in the woods that we would set up for places so we could be comfortable, and we would even put stuff out there so we could enjoy viewing and watching nature while we were out there. So it's not beyond what they were doing. They might have just thought they needed some kind of silver reflection in the middle of all that red rock. They might have even made some kind of weird reflection on the cave walls. Nobody got to find out because it disappeared the next day after somebody seen it. But there were I talked to one group that made it out there. And he was telling me what it felt like, and he said he was tempted to rip the pen off because he said he could push it a little bit. He said you could see there was something in it, and he was wondering if it was maybe some type of machine or wire, maybe it was something out there monitoring something or communicating with something or drawing energy from something. There's no really know because nobody wants to talk about it. But leave that box alone, people, before I stick ET on your ass.
Well, it's interesting. I thought I would get your take on it since you're the guy with the science degree.
Well, it's just because it is. And you know, it's funny you said that because two of my friends the other day who also have degrees in aeronautics said they thought it was some type of if you've ever watched it, Boeing's got a pylon out in the southern desert of California near the Las Vegas, California line. Now, this thing just pops up out of the ground. And it's for wind testing, and it's a weird ass. It looks like a monolith, some strange design monolith just popped up in the middle of the desert. Especially if you see it from air, from a distance, that's exactly what it looks like. But it's not. It's designed for wind testing. We don't know because some of these areas, like in that particular boxed-in canyon, they could have been testing for sound, wind, light. They may have been testing to do something in a particular area, or they may be looking for a particular area to do something in. Monoliths are good disguise, but they had to make it into something that somebody's seen it, they would report it. So then you got to wonder about that part. No, I don't. Whoever sent me that, no, I don't think it's ET. I wish it was ET, but if ET wanted to plant a monolith, I think it would do it like in the White House front yard. or maybe at the EU's headquarters, or maybe in Moscow's roof or something.
I would think that they would maybe go into, like Earth's more like a power spot, near portals. Sedona would be a perfect place for something like that.
And then somebody went through it and said none of them are on ley lines either.
Really? That's interesting.
So, no ley lines, no vortexes. So it doesn't seem to be anything spiritual energy-wise, so maybe it's something else. And like I said, it could be a beacon. Somebody might, that would be a great place to make a first contact with something way out. And all these spots are in places people wouldn't be normally. It's a very little chance of somebody seeing what happened. Or maybe they're gateways. Maybe that's why they're putting them there. They use them as gateways to go back and forth from somewhere, and for very little chance of somebody accidentally going through one, or some cell phone setting one off or something, or some microwave signal. It's just hard to say because nobody's got to look inside of one. But obviously, you can see them inside, and obviously they're not made out of like one block. So far, nobody's told me of any being made out of one block material, which then would suggest it was some type of resonance thing.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's fascinating. It is. It's
Could be
I think with the whole world going COVID crazy, I thinking, maybe it's just a bit of a distraction, just to shift some of our attention elsewhere for a little while.
Hey, look, any distraction's a good thing. I wish somebody go out and bury some money, like that other guy did. They found that guy's treasure finally, out there. I forgot which one it was. The one with the
Cooper?
treasure
No.
chest with all the diamonds and
Oh,
jewels.
yeah, the Dutchman's mine.
Yeah, they found it. No, it's a guy.
Dutchman.
What's his name? He just went in the mountain somewhere and buried some treasure,
Oh,
and then
that's
put out a
all.
map. Yeah, he put out a map and said, "Here, find it, people." And they've been looking for like a
Oh,
decade. Somebody finally found it.
oh, wow.
Everybody,
Okay.
everybody thought it was bullshit, and somebody finally found it. So I was like, okay.
Wow. They figured it
Read
out.
this book or something. Yeah, the guy was on TV talking about it. I was like, okay. What are you talking about? You mean Randy, the magnificent Randy? And he did. I don't think he's ever paid that $1 million out to anybody. I thought he was dead. I don't know.
Oh.
I interviewed him one time. He was irritating. Actually, I was probably the one that was being irritating, but
Oh.
because he's more arrogant than I was. I mean, Jesus, that's impossible.
What?
I was like, dude. He said, no, there's no proof of any of this.
Oh, the paranormal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said,
Offering $1 million to
sweet.
anybody who can prove the paranormal is real.
Talk about flipped him out. So we're sitting there talking, and I said, well, who's that woman sitting on that white and pink flowered couch with that weird ass yellow dress on that looks like there's some kind of weird fringe on the bottom? This dude just got quiet and didn't say anything for like 3 minutes. He said, oh, no, that's not right. I said, yeah, it is. I said, don't even try to lie about it. I said, would you like me to tell you something more personal? I said, I hate to do it on the air, but I said, I will. And when we went to break, he asked me, he's like, no, you just, I was like, whatever, dude. I said, we'll talk more about it when we get back. I said, but you'd be surprised what people can see. I said, you should never be so, you should never be so ignorant that your mind's completely closed. I said, you don't want to be so open-minded it falls out, but,
Humans, on average are pretty gifted. I think that society has dumbed us up. Freddie and I spoke of that earlier also. Cell phones, big culprit. But then you have those who have a belief that, they put fluoride in the water, hormones in the food, anything that just calcifies the pineal gland or,
I agree with you.
messes with.
Most X-Geners and most Z-Geners and half the millennials couldn't find their way around without their phone.
That's true.
They don't understand land marketing and stuff like that. They're just, listening to that phone while they're doing whatever else they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It also means they're not paying as much attention to the highway because they're not looking to see where they're at constantly. So, but it's a new society, and in 20 years, maybe 50 years, the cars will be driving themselves. There'll only be certain places you'll be allowed to drive, open highways, interstates, stuff like that. Everywhere else, they'll drive themselves. So you'll just be like, whatever. And drunk driving will go down because you'll be drunk, but you won't be driving. So you just be passed out in the car somewhere.
It's hard to imagine getting to that point in society. But then I say that, and I remember reading 1984 with all the stuff that's coming now or things that have been happening, thinking, oh, it'll never be in my lifetime. Here it is. In my lifetime.
Here it is.
Well,
Google's got one. All 4 seats are forward facing, but once the car takes over driving,
right.
You can turn the seats around, they'll face each other, and a table pops up, so there's 4 seats facing each other with a table. The seats recline all the way back so you can go to sleep. You can read, have your laptop plugged in, do your stuff. Everything's Wi-Fi connected. It's like being in your house, except it's moving. It's a mobile car home.
I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't. Zach is saying good night. And have a good weekend. Love and light to you all. You as well, Zach.
No, Zach, don't get pregnant by no aliens either.
Thank you for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to see you and chat.
I know we got to get out of here, guys. But Marsha, when you sent me that a little while ago, it's Erin Montgomery. She was on last night. Go listen to this show. Yes, she's a contact. We were just talking about, let me see. No, this is for the Gray Zone. Never mind. This is for segment 10 we're doing tomorrow. Dark Tradition. So y'all can. I'm not tomorrow. Day after. Tomorrow's Friday. Sorry. Guys.
Saturday. Yes. Yeah. Tomorrow night we have the paranormal panel. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Monday we're gonna have it again.
Oh, are we? Are you seriously doing it 2 in a row?
Oh. Well, we might do something a little lighter because it's for Christmas. But what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, is Science and Beyond is going back to its original slide on 9 to 11 on Friday, starting not this week but next week. And so we'll probably do 2 of the panels, but they're going to be a little different, probably a little lighter. We might do a Christmas panel that's first coming Monday, so we'll get Michelle dressed up like Santa Claus and put some pretty red hats on and stuff like that. We'll see if we can
That's
talk.
going to be a
We're going to
thing.
see if we can talk Amelia to come in, dressed up like a candy cane or something. We know Laura Lee will dress up like a candy cane for sure, so it'll be all Christmas
Let Laura
stuff.
Lee dress up. I'm not going to be dressing up.
I'll get my beard all graggy and get the belly out with pretty ho, yeah, hello, come sit on my lap. Yes. No, you can't sit unless Joe's lap of 21 and over. I'm sorry, that's the rule. It's like alcohol around here. It's 21 or over, and it's $9.99 a minute. I'm just being honest with you. It's not cheap. Oh no, my lap is not cheap. I'm sorry, people. It's just how it is. Michelle's not. You couldn't afford to sit on Michelle's lap. I'm sorry. She'd be bankrupt.
What the hell? No, you wouldn't want to be on my lap. I'm very feisty.
One last thing before we go tonight. Go YouTube. And don't get confused because we're going to leave both these open starting, I think, either Saturday or Sunday. We're back on the other station, United Public Radio. But we're going to keep this one running as well. And you're not going to see any archives. So another thing real quick, if you're looking for archives, like the ones I've been posting, on here, you're not going to find them on YouTube till after February 26th. Because the community strikes, we don't want to risk putting them in the archives because we don't know what's in them anymore because they're, some of them are so old, and we don't risk getting hit while we've got 2 strikes. So they will be on SoundCloud, Podbean, and everywhere else, but they just won't be on YouTube. But we'll be back on both YouTubes starting effectively probably Saturday, I'm hoping. And also, there'll be 2 Gray Zones put onto YouTube this week because of the one we did last week. So they'll both be there to get starting Saturday evening, probably. So just look for them. You can go find them and just look for them. Supposed to also, over the weekend, I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff to BitTube, to Ramble, to Twitch, and to YouTube. So we're just going to be on a frenzy. We've got about 30 videos that are going to be going up from this week. So go over there and if you got friends over there or people who know we're there, they're going to be in a frenzy with all the material we're putting up. And then don't forget to ask NORAD to track Santa for you. Yes. And tell him Joseph.
Let's just look for Odin and his 8-legged steed. I think I prefer that.
We don't get that down. We get Papa Noel and his 8 tiny alligators.
Yeah, all right, you do.
And then we light up the entire levee with bonfires so we can guide his ass in so he don't crash into the swamp. Well, we don't want him getting eaten by alligators, people.
Oh my God!
Papa Noel got to get in here and give us some. His 8. No, I'm serious. It's 8 tiny alligators. Yeah, on stuff. What can I say? But it is beautiful. If you're in southern anywhere in southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, in Reserve, Louisiana, and only on Christmas Eve, they light up the entire levee with all kind of, and I mean huge bonfires. We're not talking little stick fires, man. We're talking things that NASA can see. Yeah, it's great. And sometimes they build them like oil rigs and all that kind of stuff. We go down there and check it out. Me? I'm going to Christmas in Pensacola, Florida, where you get on the trolley and you ride around and they sing carols and you stop and have hot chocolate and snacks, and then you go on to the next carol and it snows on you. Can't be real snow, people. It's the South. It really ever snows. It ain't like where Michelle is. It really ever snows down here, man.
I don't have snow. I don't have snow.
Well, that's a good thing then, because you see, if we get snow, it shuts down the place for like a week.
Right.
And it's, we can't. No, Southerners cannot drive in the snow. I'm just mourning on it.
No.
If you live in like Michigan and Ohio and you see a Louisiana plate, get the hell away from them because they're gonna get you killed. I can't because I've driven in snow, but
at least he's honest.
So, first time I've driven snow scared the crap out of me. I was 14, and since then I've driven several times in snow. And the worst time of all times, I was in D.C. giving a lecture, bringing a friend home to West Virginia. We left D.C. It was in the evening time. We had a car loaded up. We were all cutting up, having a lot of fun, and we're on top of a mountain somewhere between Washington D.C. and West Virginia, and it started snowing sideways. And I ain't shitting you when I mean it started snowing sideways. In a matter of minutes, all the road was covered. And these rigs are blowing by me 80 miles an hour on these hills, going down these hills. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Cars shaking. I never slowed down. I figured if I slow down, I'd get killed. And finally we come out of it, but it was insanity. I don't know how y'all Yankees do that shit. If I had to do that every day, I'd shoot myself. I'm just saying.
See, I grew up in the north here in Canada, and I can drive in anything. Anything.
Yeah, I've heard about your driving. You scare me too. I get in the car with you.
I think not. I think not.
She thinks she's Trixie Racer, y'all, in case y'all didn't know
Okay, you're not wrong with that.
See, you can't even deny it.
But I do it safely. I do it safely.
Yeah, safely, yeah, I hear you. We don't know what
It's
safe
my
means
car.
in Canada. It must have two different meanings.
It's my car. It just wants to just vroom, you know? It just wants to
I'm the
go.
same way. It won't behave itself. Today I caught it doing 90. I was like, car. My son's laughing. I'm like, car, stop it. You're not supposed, you know better.
I know. Just blame the car. That works.
One more thing I got to tell you this. So I got a Toyota Camry, pretty little car, nothing special, just about $42,000 car, and a friend of mine goes and spends like 70 G's on this Camaro. Another friend of mine spends like 60 on this Mustang, big racing engine and great cars. So he's like, well, how fast your car does? I said 160. He's like, what? He's like, what do you mean? He said, Joe. I said, does 160. And I said, it handles like a fucking dream. He's like, well, I said, that's what they were meant. I said, you can shift it, and it's got its own system in it. It has great handling. I said, so we took him out of track. He's like, your car handles better than mine. He said, that's bullshit. It's like, no, dude. I said, Toyota builds great cars. I said, they're not as expensive. I said, what do you think? 42 ain't cheap for a damn Toyota to start off with. I mean, Jesus. But them V6s are fast as hell. And the V6 are much different today, people. So is the straight four. When I was a kid growing up, straight four was junk. You didn't get it. It blew up on the highway. The engine melted and shit. You had nothing to do with it. And whoever wrote that, I'm still a big V8 fan. I'm not going to lie. My sister got me hooked on the Viper. She had a V10 Viper. Like it killed her and me. My mom used to like to drive them big cars. She liked Lincoln Continental with the 460 police interceptors in them. Yeah, she thought she was Ponch or somebody. Woo! Like, Mom, where we going? Oh, what are we doing? 100? So I'm only 100, right, Mom? She said, hey, do 180. I'm like, no, Mom, I don't think we're going to do no 180. Get me out this damn car. Yeah, see, I come by it naturally. My dad was just as bad. They were speedsters, man. They like to drive and they go. And see, she's bad. Michelle's bad. No, we haven't seen Amelia. I gotta send Amelia all y'all love. She's probably bad too, though. She don't look like no sweetie pie to me either. She got a bad streak in her. No, not like an evil streak, doofus.
No, we just like to drive fast.
Yes.
That's all.
No, but you should tell her hi and that you miss her and all. No, she lost her dad.
Send her some love and light and healing energy, and she's
send her some rainbow ponies or something.
Rainbow ponies.
Oh, send us some stuff from Monicata. Oh yeah, that make her feel better.
Okay, the food talk is you and Amelia. Okay.
I'm just saying, send us some stuff from Monicata. Michelle don't like food. She don't eat that. That's because she was a model when she was younger. Models don't eat. They just look at it. See, because a model can look at it and absorb the energy.
We eat healthy.
Healthy, my ass. Ain't no such thing as eating healthy. Because even healthy food's made in bad ways. And wait, let's get into eating healthy real quick. We're going over here a couple minutes, guys, because I got friends that eat healthy. Like, let's look at Lance Armstrong, one of the healthiest, best eating diet. I got cancer 3 times. I'm like, a couple of my skinny friends got cancer twice. I'm telling you, being skinny a lot of times gets you cancer, people. You don't want to overeat, but you don't want to be too skinny either. Your body needs X amount of energy to live on. No, I'm right now. Well, I was 5'11 and a half. I probably shrunk a half inch since then. So, but anyway, right on 5'11, 235, 240. Right now, about 235. I like to be around 210. If we're busy and we're staying busy and I'm staying muscle good, no, 210 is good. And I can do 235. But 235 when you're just kind of fat, it sucks. Yeah, you don't want to do that. It's all Michelle's fault. She eats too much ice cream.
What? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, she got me answer a question. Yeah, she eats a lot of ice cream.
If I'm going to have ice cream, it's going to be in like some kind of, alcoholic beverage float or something.
You ever get to New Orleans, they got a place in the French Quarter that makes alcoholic ice cream beverages. I mean, they got a Brandy Alexander. This thing's freaking fabulous. They got the thing called the Grasshopper, which is hot chocolate syrup, mint ice cream, and some type of brandy. Ooh, it's really good. Brandy Alexander's good too. And then they got some whipped cream thing that makes your eyes want to roll around in your head. New Orleans really believes in alcohol. And the thing that, you travel around the country, and most places you go, alcohol is like 80 proof, something like that. And when they cut, by the time they get through cutting the drink, it's like 40% or something. Not down here. It starts out like 160 and it's still like 120 when it's going down. And I dare anybody who comes to the city to go to Pat O'Brien's and to walk in and order a mint julep, just a straight mint julep, nothing fancy, just a mint julep. All a mint julep is Everclear, $1.90, and 2 pieces of mint spray shaken together. That's mint julep. First time I drank one, I forgot who I was. I was like, who? Joe. Who the hell's Joe? I'm Frank, man. I know who the freaking Joe is. What are you talking about? It's a great place, but we got to get ahead. I know people, what I keep telling you, YouTube.
Nope, nice and
See, I
quiet in
blocked
there.
the other room. Y'all seen that, huh? I know. Y'all got mad at me for that.
It's because you just keep going on.
They've been hanging out with them for like 20 years, and I keep being mean to them.
I don't know, man.
It's grown into this weird, strange group of people. And who you fantasizing about? Oh, Michelle, you better not be fantasizing about. I've been getting worried about you, buddy. It's like, and I don't know. Don't even type because I don't even want to know what kind of fantasies you have. And you say that's Michelle. I know nothing about that. There's some things I do not need to know. One question, Mike, and then we got to get out of here because really we're running over. Who? Meryl who? Meryl Lupus? Lopose. I never heard of them. Who are they? Famous psychic. Can't be that famous. Send me some info on it. Oh, and to Darlene, whatever your name is, you're the one who said you look like. Send me a pic. Yeah, I seen you typed in a room again tonight. Erin would like to see if you look like her. Yeah, maybe you're her twin alien sister or something.
You never know. You never know.
No, you don't know. That's why I want to see the picture.
That's right.
Saturday, 5 to 7, dark traditions. Yeah, people, we're going to get dark and evil. Yes, no, not so much evil, just dark. I don't need it too close to Christmas to be being evil. I don't want no lightning bolts coming down zapping my ass or anything. I got enough crazy people driving me nuts.
We're going to talk about dark traditions and folklore for Christmas. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be scary.
A lot of people have been asking. You asked.
I'm going to dress up like a vampire, like Lestat.
Not quite like that to that point, but.
I'm going to dye my ponytail blonde. I'm going to dye my beard blonde too and dress up like Lestat. Get out of here. That's never going to happen. Not in a million years. Hey, but whoever posted that yesterday on Facebook and the regular Facebook, I would actually dye it red if I could ever find dye red beard dye that was red for men. No. We can't use women's dyes. No. It'd make all my hair fall on my damn face. And that really looks stupid. Big white smush across my face. My face ain't seen sunlight in a decade, man. Ain't no telling. There might be critters living there and stuff. We don't want to make them homeless or anything. Okay, Michelle knows y'all love her. Yes, what else? Well, I see y'all keep logging into the server tonight. We're not even talking about anything. I mean, Jesus, we done picked up 45,000 people in the last 10 minutes. I mean, it's like somebody got a beacon going out or something. What about Jesus? Jesus loves all of us. Yeah, sure he does. He ain't got no problem with loving all of us. I mean, some of us he loves more than others, No, really, he does love some of us more than. Oh, I can prove it. Yes. Are you like in prison and destitute and been probed? Yes, you don't love me. You kick your ass to the curb. He said, you better get. That's why you in there, because you ain't been listening to Jesus. No, I'm just that's being mean, but you should always believe in anything that makes you feel as snug as a bug in the rug. I'm honest about that. I always have been. I never fault people for their beliefs because there's lots of stuff to believe in, and there's no one person out there that can prove indifference or wrong anyway. So, live, love, and alike, and see what happens. And hope for the best, and yeah, it might come out good. By April, we're supposed to be free, so. Well, at least the ones that are taking a vaccine. The rest of you poor bastards are going to be still at home in jail. Again, go over to United Public Radio, take the APC poll, which is American Polling Company, and say if you're going to take the vaccine or not. Last time I checked, it was around 16,000 people, and it was 50-50. I'm going to update the poll tomorrow. I might put it on YouTube if the other YouTube page is up. And ask you to maybe contribute, tell us what race you are, because I keep hearing on the news how like 90% of black people aren't going to take it, but when I talk to my black friends, it's still about 50-50. About half say yes, about half say no. And it doesn't seem to matter if they're male or female. So it's an interesting thing, Get out there and what do you mean? Oh, Michelle, Mrs. Castro, is that what you're calling her? Oh, you better not let her see you. She's gonna smack your ass. Justin wouldn't know what to do with Michelle. Oh,
what are you thinking? No.
That little young pup would have a damn heart attack.
I am not part of the fan club.
He wouldn't even know what to do with Michelle. He'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm running." He'd be hot.
Not part of that fan club. Sorry, I don't get politically involved with all that craziness.
Food modeling. All right, what is with the food thing tonight? Food modeling. You'd have to ask Amelia to do that.
Yeah, Amelia will model food. She's a great cook.
She'd be cooking and modeling. Yeah, there's a little you walk around.
Manicotti, I know. Yeah. Anybody can do it.
I'm gonna talk her into making me some manicotti. I'm getting ready to make some this weekend, but I'm gonna talk her into making. I love trying different foods. I can't help myself.
She did send you a good recipe.
It's the coon ass in me. I can't help it. Yeah. We were taught to eat everything. Yeah, man. We like grazing sheep going through. Let's eat everything in our family.
Oh my God, I can't even go there.
Well, you miss out on such good food if you don't.
No, you eat weird shit. I can't even get my head around some of this.
I eat everything. I mean, I'm eating world famous 5-star restaurants, probably more than most people have, and even rich people probably eating is half the ones I have. I mean, New Orleans got 5-star restaurants. I mean, you can just mill around and eat some of the best food and some of it will be tainted kind of Cajun because we Cajun down here, but some of it won't be. Some will be French. And we've got the biggest cooking school in the world now. Poor France got kicked to the curb, buddy. New Orleans will pass their ass up. They're like, you want the best food in the world. You come here, you don't go there. And, it's just how it is. Everybody gets a title for so long, and it just moves on. Actually, it'd probably just go between France and New Orleans for the next 200 years. But I don't think anyone else is going to be able to get into the race. But it's great. And in all fairness, no, I pick on my friends in South France because it's beautiful down there. They're living in heaven. If Shangri-La's on Earth, that's it. So if that's not it, some other part of the Mediterranean is. It is just when there's no volcanoes.
Mediterranean's beautiful.
It's just beautiful, people.
It is. It is beautiful.
And why do you think people are so relaxed and live so long? Got such great tans. Mm-hmm. Well, no, that's northern Italy. They don't have tans. No, I got some white relatives in north, and they're white ass. I mean, they're like white, like my cup white. I mean, they're lily white. They ain't even know down where they from. Oh, no. But Michelle, I got to tell y'all good night because I got to go get in trouble with somebody and start doing Christmas stuff and putting up Christmas trees and stuff and singing fa la 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 E.T.'s probing your mama la 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 la. I know about it. This is bad time.
All right then. Yeah, you guys all be good.
5 most famous demons and how they were repelled. I mean, Michelle and I have to talk about it. We got lots of stuff. We got lots of topics for the future. The 5 most famous. You mean the 5 most famous talked about demons that have been exorcised? Is that what you're talking about? So, you know what? Send me it to iCox.net.
Yeah, it'd be a good paranormal panel.
Yeah, hey, that would be a good panel. Maybe we'll tackle it this week. Ooh, I have come to probe you. Yes, I have. I am the demon.
You're so just OCD.
I can't help it. See, this is what happened.
I know you can.
And this is special blend I'm drinking tonight.
I'm thinking it might
Maybe I should stay away from this special blend.
Yeah. Thank you, Folgers, for that. Okay, so I'm going to sign us off. Do not click the button until I am done.
She's getting on.
Because we have sponsors, darn it. So thank you to everybody who tuned into the Outer Realm tonight. Huge thank you to Mr. Freddy Silva. Yes,
Great
still
guy.
fangirling over here. Still fangirling.
Yes.
And thank you to Joe Montaldo for
I'm still
popping in and talking about probing and such and stuff.
whatever kind of weirdness we talked about.
I know. Poor Folgers, that's all I got to say. But we do want to extend a huge thank you out to Folgers Coffee for partially sponsoring tonight's show. Remember to go by the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Network. And please subscribe on YouTube. If you want to see a guest on the show, be waiting for a while. We do book a bit of in advance, but it would give us an idea what you guys want to see. So go to the Outer Realm contact at gmail.com, or feel free just to drop by the Outer Realm Facebook page and tell us what you'd like to see. So tune in for more great guests next week. Wednesday night, we're going to have Mike Ricksecker, who will be talking some paranormal with us. Thursday, we have Steve Myers. We are going to be talking on his theory about the building of the pyramids, and it is fascinating. It really is fascinating. So until then, thank you for tuning in. Have a good night. Have a fantastic, safe weekend.
Yes.
Good night.
No, my Santa Claus did not move. You freak out.